It's not a numbered episode. This is
Yeah,
special. All right.
Extra
No,
special.
it's got a number right.
It's 140 something, 145.
It's
There you go.
special, like all of you.
Looks a little cold over there.
There's a guy backstage. I don't know if I should let him in or not.
Charles is in the waiting area.
Let's take a vote.
Oh, way to give it away, Ant. Jeez.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, everyone.
What's up, brother?
Hello. What's going on, Charles?
Good to see you guys. Happy Plumbing Day.
Hey.
Hey, happy Plumbing Day. We have a guest of honor with Jillian's here with us.
Hi.
Awesome.
Hey, Jillian. So good to see you again.
Today is
What's happening, man? Is Kyle gonna? Kyle, what are you doing over there, man? What are you working on, pal?
I got a damn project, man. I got to put a whole wire harness in my bike, and I got my other one here. I bought both my bikes at $3.08, and that's all I bought, right? So
you're having fun. Okay.
I got to put this whole damn harness in, but it's kind of fucking up from when I hit the horse. So I didn't want to do it. It's like a 6-week job, probably, if I got to order parts.
Well, thank God you got it at $3.08, man. That's the important part.
Yeah, I did really good. That's all I got, though. I should have got like a house or some shit.
He broke it at 25-cent ADA though.
So that's why my ADA went down. Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway,
it doesn't matter how good that motorcycle runs. Kyle's always going to be tweaking on it.
Well, I learned you need two. You need at least two wherever you are, because you're always it's good therapy. And if you only have one, it's part of exercise, which ties to people's mental health and well-being fairly well. And you guys know I'm a little off the rocker if I don't keep myself steady. So it's part of having something to do. But if I don't have it, I rush the job, and it's a dangerous job to rush. So
it's adrenaline.
That's my excuse for when I tell the old lady I need to buy more motorcycles.
You're adrenaline junkie. I know Charles is adrenaline junkie. He gets in helicopters and flies around, does all kinds of crazy shit. Gets on horses and walks right along edges of things that are like, I don't know, 2 miles down. He doesn't care. He just goes for it.
Just being on Twitter is enough adrenaline for a lifetime. I'd rather jump out of helicopters, let me tell you.
I remember your spot there on when you're on Twitter doing those live spaces. That's for sure. So.
Well, Jillian, I know you got a lot going on. So it's awesome to see you here. I'm glad you were able to make it for a little bit.
Yes.
What's new with you? How are things going? How's the family doing?
Family's doing good, doing surprisingly well. I mentioned to you, my husband's family is here. They're very, very close to us. And so it's great to have them. They come and they help on house projects and things. About 6 months ago, we bought this big, huge Victorian house. And with that comes a lot of big, huge Victorian problems. And so it's good to have them close to help with that. But when they come, it's utter chaos. So I'm glad that I was able to step away and join you guys for a little while.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
I can sympathize with the house stuff.
Do you know what year the house was built?
This one's 1905.
Pretty good one.
Yeah,
It's
Matt was
beautiful
into old
inside.
houses and house projects. And so we went from a house that was 1896 to this one.
That's like the
Practically
house I grew
brand
up
new.
Basically.
in. You know what's funny about those houses? All of the joists underneath them, they're soaked with creosote. And you can smell it when you go underneath there. That's really dark in color. And those houses will be around in like 200, 300 years.
Yeah.
They'll still be there. And there's brand new houses being built today. They won't be there.
That's the
But those
true
ones will
pressure
still be
treated, true pressure treated wood.
Yeah, for sure.
I just got done refurbishing a house built in 1907, and it took 2 years to put the whole thing back together. It's extraordinary how much you have to do to get those things up to code.
What was the most unexpected hurdle that you came through that you didn't expect? That was like, what? You're crazy. Just because it takes 2 years is a lot longer than I would expect something like that to take.
Oh my Lord. It's just like you had to start and stop. When we were digging out an extension to the basement, discovered that they used wagon wheels in the concrete.
Oh, cool.
Iron cast wagon wheels. That's the
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, we restored it. We were like, oh, that's really cool. And found bones, found all kinds of things. It used to be a turkey farm back in the day. So we're like, please just don't be human bones. That's just, please don't be human remains. Oh, it's turkey remains. We're good.
That's the last thing you want to run into. Then from there, you got to have forensics come in. It stops the whole site. Everything stops.
Yeah.
At that point. Yeah, it'd be crazy.
Yeah. Just make sure everything's the code, right?
Yeah, I was bidding out probably 7 or 8 years ago one of the old buildings here in town for like a networking retrofit. And they literally, so we're in the desert, so it's dry as a bone. So like the foundation, it was a wood plank floor of this old theater, and it was just wood boards sitting right on dirt. Like that was the foundation. That had been that way for probably a good 150 years or so. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, the way they make houses now aren't nearly the way they used to make them back then. The other part about that is how ornate they are, how much woodworking went into it, how much real art went into putting that together, not just necessarily the bones of the house and making sure there's doors and windows and a roof, right? So they were really spent a lot more time thinking about and building those things. That's the beauty of like what Jillian's house was in Connecticut. I never got the chance of going to that particular house, but I got to see it. It was absolutely beautiful. And the way they put it all together was just amazing. The new house that they have is really cool, but they did some upgrades to it. So it has this really cool look to it, but inside still has some of the newer creature features that you'd love to have, you know, so it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, definitely cool out there.
It's like Chris's house has all that like real fancy, ornate, like trim around the outside on the drip edge of the roof and everything, you know, like, so you have to like go and try to either hand carve it or find an artisan to make it if you're trying to restore it. It's pretty.
That's what I did. All the pieces that were broken and damaged around the house, I had to go up, get on the ladder, take paper, make templates, go cut them by hand, put, you know. But if you get up there and look at it, like up this close, every piece of this trim was cut by hand. It was not cut by a machine. And a lot of that early Victorian trim was cut on dies, you know, on machines. But this house was also built in 1863, so a little bit prior to the Victorian movement.
Chris, what was that big hole that you were creating up in your house there? What exactly what you were doing there? I know you posted something a little while back on that.
Well, when this house was built in 3 different stages, the room that I'm in now was the original 2-room cabin. The front parlor was added on at a later date. The back room was added on at a later date, and upstairs was added on at a later date. When they did the upstairs, they actually knocked the original chimney down. Now it's not extant above the roof anymore, but it's inside the house, like the interior portion. And so I was trying to reduce our power bill by putting in a wood stove, and someone at some point in distant past cut a hole up there for a stovepipe to go in for a little potbelly stove or something here in the floor. And so I was going to go through the exterior wall and then run my stainless pipe up the side of the house there.
Yeah.
Well, when they took the chimney down, they completely filled that cavity with all the brick. So I was like, well, this is going to be a spring project. So I did a different solution for the wood stove for the winter this year. But yeah, that's what I was doing. It was a pain in the ass.
Yeah. The last thing you want to run into is an entire chimney filled with the brick on the inside. That'd be bad. No question.
You know, it's funny when those houses, the longer they're around, I had a farmer's market about a mile from where I live, and it was there since the 1800s, and they just kept building onto. So it was like the Weasley's house on Harry Potter, like with all these different parts and chunks sticking out. That's what happens when you have these houses.
Yep.
Sam knows, he's up in Pennsylvania. There's a bunch of houses like that, where it started off as like 1,200 square feet, and now it's 4,000 square feet, but you can't tell if it's 3 or 5 different buildings that somebody duct taped together.
There was no building code then. There was no standards. There was no permitting. So you just built sections of your house as you had more kids. You'd add on to the house.
Yep.
It was like,
hey guys, I'm gonna go backstage for a minute. Martin Lang's hanging out backstage. I'm gonna let him come in and jam.
Cool. Nice.
Martin, yay. Thanks to Martin, we have ledger abilities.
Okay, I was
Later
making
for Martin.
Hey, Martin.
Martin.
Hey guys.
Hey, Martin.
That's my D-rep right there. If you need a D-rep, that guy. That's my boy.
Hey, Martin.
Martin, put your D-rep ID in the chat, man.
No.
Okay, I will.
Smart
No
man.
pressure. No pressure.
Hey, just to cap off the house thing, if anybody gets a chance, if you're ever in California, for whatever reason, go to Hearst Castle and go check out the William Hearst castle. It's basically a huge house that they just continued to kept building on, building on, building on, building. It was absolutely nuts. He built on it for like, I don't know, it was like 25 or 30 years or something like that. It was absolutely crazy. But some of the things in there, especially the library, if you want any ideas of how to put a library together, go to that place and take the tour. It's absolutely amazing.
And if you're in California and you want to really see a house that was built over a few years, go to the Winchester Mansion.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about. Have you ever been there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. All the false doors and weird staircases that go nowhere.
You know why
everything
that was built like that? The theory?
Oh, no, it's true. She was terrified of all the ghosts, the people that had died at the hand of Winchester guns. Like, so she was cuckoo.
Watch the documentary on that. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
all right.
library in Hearst Castle is so beautiful. I went there as a kid years ago. It's in San Luis Obispo, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. The billiard room is pretty good too.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. That whole area is just gorgeous, So, Carmel Valley. I mean, you want to think about Carmel Hills, Carmel Valley, all the things goes along with that. That's really truly California at this point. And there's hardly anything out there, which is the other part of it. So, very nice.
So since we're getting down to about 30 minutes here, maybe we should set the stage. It's officially January 29th, 2025. So it is officially Lunar New Year. To begin the Year of the Snake, we're here on a blockchain called Cardano, which is powered by the Ouroboros consensus mechanism, which is a snake. Our top volume meme coin of SNEC just got announced for to be on Kraken's roadmap. And we're officially about to execute the Plomin hard fork and fully embrace fully decentralized community-run governance. So let's do an around the horn and let everybody kind of say their piece. So Kyle, you want to go first since you're up there in the top left?
Yeah, I mean, like, what specifically is just kind of like open mic, or is there like specific?
Yeah, open mic. How you feeling? Year of the Snake, Year of Cardano. Like, what are you most excited about after this Plum and Hard Fork?
I feel good. I mean, it's been a long road. We got a little bit of work ahead of us, just to kind of get everybody on the same page to make sure everybody's fed and development keeps going. But I feel really, really good about it. I think we're maturing as a community. We're maturing, at least from the angles that I see. It's going to be interesting though. Like, we're going to have to figure out and get a foothold of where to win. Nothing that we haven't really said before, but I'm excited for the future. I'm just thankful and grateful to be alive and have the opportunity to contribute to something. That's how I feel. I'm happy to be here, and thanks for putting up with my shit, guys.
I love putting up with your shit, Kyle. So just so you know,
it's entertaining.
Absolutely.
All right, Ant, what you got?
Why don't we let the guests go first? I mean, we're here all the time anyway. So what about?
Well, we were going to go around in order, and then we're
Well,
going to.
I don't.
We're going to figure it out.
I think everyone's order might be
Andrew
different
hasn't
here.
been here recently, so we're going to skip.
Anthony needs time with something to think of
later.
I can go if you want, but
no, you're done. You're going at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I think if you look way back in my chat history, there's probably a few messages where I was pissed off at Charles, like, let us take over the network or something. But way back in the day, but we weren't ready then. He was right, but I think we are ready today. So it's exciting. It's scary. I've been blessed to work for the blockchain for the last couple of years, whether that's at companies or just working as an SPO. So yeah, just really grateful to be here at this time, and it's exciting, being able to delegate to DREPs. I decided that I was not going to be a DREP. I'm leaving that to other people, but I still get a vote as an SPO, so it's kind of cool. It's a neat system of governance we've set up, and I'm looking forward to see how it works.
Awesome. Go ahead, Sam.
I've been on this governance journey now since about September of 2022. It's been a long time coming. We've been working our way through little by little, piece by piece. SanchoNet in 2023, summer of 2023. Everyone remember launching that? We brought a bunch of you guys in and we started doing governance originally at the SPOs. Then we brought the DREPs in, and then we started adding the CC features. Then we did smart contracts, and we decided we needed to add guardrails. So we did the guardrails stuff. Then we did some performance improvements, and we started pulsing votes so we could get closer to being able to go live. We're pretty much ready to cut it. And then if I remember right, it was SIP 69 that basically was the big controversial thing. Let's get this last thing in. So we're like, okay, to the Ledger team, can we do this? Is this possible? And they're like, yeah, we can do this. So we did. And then after popping that thing in, we were ready to release and Chang this year. And then finishing up with Ploman now coming into this new year. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, and I'm ready to take a break from governance for a while and focus on some more simpler things like scalability.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Simpler.
It's crazy when you think about the accomplishment. It's a crazy thing that we actually built an on-chain government. I had a constitutional convention, you got liquid democracy, you got a constitutional republic mechanism. You have an infrastructure law branch, the SPOs. It's just crazy when you think about it. We drew all this out. It was a little earlier than September of 22. I think we started talking about it maybe, was it at Plutus Fest or where? Actually, it was before Plutus Fest. It was probably August, I think. But it was around that time frame. It was a very, very, it's just everything's a blur now. But, what started as we wanted to do a series of iterations with the Genesis keys and gradually build up to a governing system. And we kept adding and adding and adding and adding. And then eventually we're just like, oh, fuck it. We'll just build a whole on-chain government. So then we said, okay, this is roughly this sketch of what it needs to look like to do that. And then we said, well, the problem is that normally you vote for these things to get these things in, but it's a chicken and the egg thing. We don't have a robust enough voting system to create legitimacy for that. So how do we construct a process that brings everybody along for the journey and gets to a point where there's enough consent and consensus? So then the workshop idea was kind of proposed, and we worked on that for a while, and thousands of people participated, and some people loved them and some people hated them and some people were meh, but at least it got us somewhere. And then the other thing that had to be done was that we needed institutions, because if you remember Scott Fest, I said that for governance you need 3 pillars. There's democratic consent, you need institutions, and you need constitutional representation. And they have to balance each other. So no one side can be too strong or else the whole system falls apart. Well, the problem was we didn't really have a lot of institutions that were fit for purpose to truly be a representative of the roadmap and the development of Cardano. And, Intersect got formed. The challenge of Intersect, it had about 6 years worth of expectations put on its plate. And it instantaneously, it's like public enemy number one, because all that pent up rage of we want to participate was like, rah. And so Intersect had a lot of trouble trying to get to a point where it was decent. Although I think they've made enormous progress in a year, but a lot more has to be done to get them where they need to go. And also we wanted to make sure there were competing institutions, because that would kind of keep people honest when you had these things, that there's no monopoly over power for one institution. So how do you build a system where you have institutions, but people can compete with the institutions? And so that delicate balance there. And it's just really amazing to see how the community wrapped their hands around it. It's really become something special. And today, right here, right now, as soon as a hard fork is initiated, Cardano will be, as measured by the EDI, the most decentralized cryptocurrency project in the world. We beat Bitcoin, which is, for a 10-year journey, a truly amazing thing. And it's the product of the hard work of thousands of people in probably about 100 countries for 2 years straight. And when you think about it, just incredibly humbling that we went on this journey together.
No question.
Absolutely.
I think I was after.
Yeah, go ahead, Blockchuck.
I'll go. So I kind of surrounded myself with that energy that is Matt, right? So I've got his photo. I always have that sitting up near my coffee. So the first thing I see in the morning is Matthew's face looking right at me, and I'm grabbing my coffee at the same time. And I'm all, hold on a second, let me rub the sleep out of my eyes, and then I'll get started. The other part is that I absolutely know he loved golf, and I was looking forward to actually playing a round of golf with him, and I didn't get a chance to do that. But I will be playing a round of golf in his honor, and I'll be thinking of him while I'm doing it. So the other part of that is that sometimes the drive and desire necessary to do something comes from somewhere else. You don't know where it comes from, and then you get this idea and you just go do it, And I think Charles epitomizes that with the fact that he just decided to leave Ethereum, which at that time seemed relatively successful, and decided, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start my own chain, and started to go do that. And that literally is, what we should be able to do at any time in our lives whenever we want. And when I watched Charles's whiteboard video, and I saw the main part that stuck with me was pushing power to the edges. That has been something that I've thought about for a very long time, and is something that then allowed me to be able to facilitate that in a real way. And in most cases, do it without actually knowing most of the people that I'm actually impacting by my actions while on Cardano's blockchain, building something that will make a difference. And so to me, it's made absolute sense. And so I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell everything I got, get rid of my 401k, buy ADA, and go all in on Cardano. And I told people that, and they were like, what are you doing? You're out of your goddamn mind, But the funny thing about it is that I knew in my heart, I know Rick, because Rick did the same thing. Me and Rick, we're kindred spirits when it comes to that shit. But I knew in my heart at that point that I was doing the right thing for the right reasons, and I did not have one bit of fear when I went and did it, right? Yes, our founder is he's got some crazy ideas. He does some crazy stuff. He goes on some crazy things. It doesn't matter to me. It makes it even that much more interesting to me to be a part of that. And at the same time, I can sit here and build and do whatever I want here on Cardano in this ecosystem. It's going to facilitate my everything that I need in order to build a business and be able to do what I want, be able to, create impact within the world and its people, right, in a very positive way. And so from that, I met Matt. Matt said, hey, I got an idea. Let's start a stablecoin. And then from there, next thing you know, I'm like, what are we doing? And I asked 3 people, it's a good idea to start a stablecoin company compared to anything else, or all, no, are you crazy? That's absolutely nuts. That is the hardest thing to do. You actually have to have real money backing it. You can't just create it out of thin air. And from there, it's going to take a while before you make any money. You go, it sounds like when I first started my business. First 5 years, I made no money. I worked my ass off, and I did what I needed to do in order to get through it. But the key component is, like Matt, you never give up. You never give up, right? So in that regard, I consistently keep him in my thought and in my heart as I'm doing everything that I'm doing. Sometimes I wish I had him saying something as we're in a meeting or something like that, but I know that I had enough experience in being with him in meetings and things like that to know what most likely he's going to say. The other part about that is that I have Jillian, who was literally the backbone of everything that Matt did anyway. So without her, that success, that nucleus between those two, the success they had would have been a lot less, I'm sure, without those two together, as what I like to call the dynamic duo. So from there, I'm excited for this hard fork. I can't wait for this crazy freaking ship to take off. Who knows where it's going to go and what it's going to do. But I do know that all of us together are building something that's just absolutely amazing, never been done before. And it's going to be a shit ton of fun over the next 5 to 10 years. So with that, that's all I got. Thanks.
Thanks. That was awesome. Hey, I'll go ahead and go next. I'm going to bounce because we've got a lot of people in the waiting room.
Yeah.
And so, James, that is so hard to follow up on. The things I've heard about Matt, I've met him at events at Rare Evo. I met him again in Dubai, always out there. Jillian out there, like really knocking it out. And it seems like everyone that's worked with him, it was his warm demeanor and his calm, cool, collect leadership style that drew people in, right? And I'm like, I totally get that. I mean, the few times that I've been able to meet with him and talk to him, I'm like, I'm 100% on board with that. So I just want to let people know that there it is. That's a beautiful tribute we have up on the screen there. I want to let people know this is just the beginning. There's still a a lot more to do in governance. It's going to fall on the community, the DREPs, the ICC, the Intersect support, the Pragma support, all of the entities and builders that are involved. Most importantly, the ADA holders. Primary vote is on the ADA holders, right? And so make sure things are going in the right direction. Do a little bit of a pulse check over the next 2, 3, 5 years. Check in once in a while and say, is this going in the right direction? Or do I need to shift things just a little bit? You know, like, do things just need to shift a little to make sure it's on track in the direction that you think that it should be going? And you have a vote. You vote with your ADA. And there you go. That's all I got. Good luck, guys, in the future. I'm going to bounce. We got Laffy. We got a couple other folks in the waiting room. Take care, everyone. Congratulations. Well done to everybody and all you builders. You're all awesome. Charles, good job. Love you guys.
Thanks for joining us, Rick.
Yeah, you're doing an amazing job, everybody. Keep it up. Take care.
Later,
Hey, Rick. See you at the next show, bro.
All right. Well, our order got kind of like shuffled, so but because we're running down on time to the actual big event here, let's go to Martin before we go to Jillian.
Man, where to start? When I wrote up my DREP introduction today on the Cardano forum, yeah, it all came back. What we did all in the last 5-6 years together. It's an honor to be here with you at this point in time. I can remember when we started with the first testnet, and we were thinking, "What's this German Gender? How do you spell it?" thing? And then we got this going, and then we started our friends and family channel and started Shell incentivized testnet with a new Cardano node. What the hell is this now? Yeah, and we wrote documentation. Then we got native assets. Then we started Alonso testnets, white, red, and blue. I don't know the order, but and then we got the smart contracts on chain. It's really a crazy ride over the last years, and yeah, then this whole governance thing came up. A lot of new stuff. Building, testing, breaking, yeah, with Sam, with the testnets, always fun. And yeah, that's for some, it's some people are stressed out if there are new things coming in. I think it's fun. You have to enjoy the progress and yeah, you break things and you make it better. And it's really, I was really surprised today when I wrote up some things from the last years and how it hit me today, what we all together accomplished in the last years. And now is really the final step, yeah, to hand over all the power to the community. Yeah, will be a crazy ride. Let's see. We have to watch out. Our treasury and all the things that's going on, and yeah, and I'm happy that we can honor Matthew with this hard fork, and yeah, let's go.
Thank you, Martin. You've been one of the people that I think we've watched every single hard fork on Cardano together at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've been a rock and a huge pillar of the ecosystem yourself as well. So Laugh, you showed up late, so we're not giving you a chance. So we're going straight to Jillian.
Kick Charles out? Wait, did we kick Charles out for Laugh?
No, Charles is joining the Epoch's End Twitter space, so he'll be over there. So thank you for joining us, Charles.
Yep, thanks, brother.
All right, Jillian, what are you thinking? How you feeling today?
Feeling pretty good. You know, I was particularly excited that the governance hard fork was the one that would be named after Matt. Fun little fact, when we were still in college, we went to Purdue University. It's in West Lafayette, and there was zero representation for students on the city council. And so he decided out of the blue that he was going to run for city council. And I helped him. I ran that campaign we ended up flipping the seat for the first time in 50 years and doubling the turnout. And he served as city councilman, representing the student body essentially for 4 years after that. So to me, I feel like this governance was something that was very close to Matt's heart, and something that was attractive to him about Cardano in general. And so it's particularly appropriate for this one to be named for him. So I was very excited about that. I was very touched that the community unanimously decided to do this.
Every time someone spits out a fact about Matt, I learned something new. I had no idea. City councilman.
He was highly accomplished, and
like I wouldn't even be surprised if the next thing you tell me is he was an astronaut.
On Earth.
He was an astronaut, went to the moon at one point. Like, okay, that's fine. I get it.
If he had seen a problem up there, he probably would have. He was kind of like, I've identified a problem. I guess I'll fix it. And I usually get stuck also fixing it, just along for the ride. I guess we're doing this now. Yeah.
The literal definition of picking up a shovel, right? Like, not complaining, pick up a shovel, let's get to work. It's time to move that mountain. So
yeah,
that's amazing. All right, Ant, you want to go before Lath? You're the last two that haven't had a chance on the open mic.
Yeah, unfortunately, Charles didn't get to go while he was here, but
well, he kind of butt in and he made sure he got his 5 minutes.
Did he just got in and then went? Yeah.
Yeah, just I mean, thank you everyone for coming out today, and everyone that's watching and tuning in, and thank you, Charles, for being here, and Jillian, especially you. Thank you for coming out. Yeah, I mean, I'm just, I feel very lucky and fortunate to work in the Cardano blockchain with the people that I get to work with. Everyone started out as strangers, and now most of them are considered family at this point. And there's not very many people that get to work at this capacity every day. There's very few of us. It's a small group. So yeah, I feel lucky to be here, and just stoked to make history today. Once again, with all of you, once again.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here and being part of the community as well, Ant. So, last but not least. So, how you feeling today, bud?
I'm super stoked. I'm actually looking for the next thing. I'm actually joking around saying I can't wait to see the election take place on Cardano, because it is going to be enabling these kind of capabilities. And 2-3 years ago, when Kyle convinced me to quit my job to work on Cardano, I had my second thought, but I can say right now confidently, no regrets. It's been a blast.
I remember that. It was like a campaign for you to quit.
Every day. Yeah, I mean, I took a chance, man. I'm glad I did. It's been absolutely fun so far.
We were making so much fucking money back then. It was like a no-brainer, like compared to where we are now. Like I'd never be able to get to do it, like where we were coming from. But we're growing back on the side now, so that's good.
Yeah, it's been an absolute blast so far. I'm looking forward to what we're going to do in 2025. I hear AI is the next big thing, so let's see what we can do with it.
Let's fork and go.
All right, so we're under the 10-minute mark. So, did Bodega set up a prediction market or anything for like what the first governance action post fork is going to be? Like, is somebody going to go straight to a treasury withdrawal? Is somebody going to like do a K parameter increase or something? What are you guys thinking? I'm gonna go
with K parameter. I think somebody will throw that out there and say, hey, I want you all to go on record now and see what happens.
Yeah.
I feel like Hosky would be one of the first ones to submit, but I don't know what exactly he would push. Or she. We don't know.
Pretty sure we all know.
I think we all know. Maybe.
No, he's been doxxed for a while since he's been doing the governance stuff. But
what are the chances someone's going to submit a proposal for increasing the block size? That's more realistic.
probably not, because that one is a little more dangerous. Just because it changes the propagation metrics, and so that one has some guardrails around it where they actually have to test, and you're only allowed to shift it so you're only allowed to increase it so much at a time, so that there's time to measure the network, because we have to propagate blocks under so much time for the network to stay cohesive and not fork itself.
So I believe there was a discussion surrounding some of these things where we never want them changed, right? And how do you keep that from happening, right? And I think that's ultimately one of them. Do you want somebody, while you're driving down the road, messing around with your engine, like, hey, I'm going to adjust your fuel and oxygen, combination, in order to make and it just starts running really shitty, you're like, nah, I don't want anybody doing that. So I'm like, yeah, just stay out of my engine, so is that possible?
But I mean, no, you have to trust the people to not do that. Like, nobody's repealing the Bill of Rights in the United States. They could, but nobody's doing it because that'd be stupid. And that's kind of what the guardrails are, is they kind of tell you where the boundaries are and where it'd be stupid to go beyond something. There's a few parameters that can only change one way. So like block size, that one can only increase. It can't ever decrease. Yeah. So that has to be very, very careful. As you increase it, it may be like, okay, we ticked it up. Okay, now things are starting to not look good. Now everybody has to go and get better hardware before we can ever move that one again, that type of thing.
Right. And maybe a fun, interesting little point to put on that. So we do have something called a guardrail smart contract. So for some of those actions that are very clearly defined, like the number cannot be less than what it currently is, you literally can't publish an action suggesting it, right? Like, it will get shut down by the smart contract.
Like trying to set the block size to 0.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like that would just get kicked out. You wouldn't even be able to publish the action. But other ones, like you could say set K to 5 million or increase the fees to 5 billion or something crazy like that. And then it takes more of like a human analysis, and that's where we have the Constitution and the guardrails and everything else to kind of filter that out. So just because something is a bad idea won't necessarily stop people from proposing it either, though. So it's about to be a whole brave new world that we're entering in was it about 5 minutes and 23 seconds. I don't know if, Sam, do you have your watch synchronized to the actual atomic clock there? Mr. 51 seconds.
Not this time. I'm actually going to go on record and say I think it's either going to be a new constitution proposal or it's going to be a no confidence.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah.
Hopefully not the no confidence. Whew.
Well, we do know that Intersect is planning on publishing the Constitution from Buenos Aires tomorrow. So morning tomorrow UK time, once the Intersect staff are up and they can do their multi-sig and everything. So that is the running clock. So we'll see if anybody sneaks one in between now and then.
Is no
confidence? Now, when I say no confidence, I'm not saying that it's going to pass no confidence. I'm saying someone out there is going to be like, because I mean, there's already like millions of ADA delegating to no confidence. So I'm expecting one of those people that is so disillusioned with the system is going to be like, yeah, I'm willing to risk 100K ADA to throw this up and see what happens.
What would actually happen if somebody did?
If you're going to do that, at least make sure your address is registered on chain, because I would hate for you to also donate your 100K ADA to the treasury if you have no confidence in the system.
Yep.
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, what would happen if someone did propose a no confidence like that?
It's just a matter of if it gets votes or not enough to ratify.
Yeah.
In that case, it's all on the SPOs and the DREPs. So it would be
I think
and,
it would
and that's
get
really
minimal
it's no
votes.
confidence in the constitutional committee is what that no confidence state is, but it does basically lock everything until a new committee is in place. So it would
Right, that's what it is.
halt all governance progress. So there you go.
That would be
Show
and no
of hands.
confidence would be a very Cardano thing to do right off the bat. Like that's
Very
it's actually not that far off. Like somebody will do that.
You guys are giving them ideas, is all I'm saying.
It doesn't matter. It's not gonna
The
pass.
ideas are already
I mean,
out there.
Yeah.
Right. Cooler heads will prevail, I would hope. So we'll see.
Is K one of the parameters that can be dynamically changed if voted upon and someone
Yes,
proposed it?
absolutely.
All right, so there was
Almost
an info action
everything
on
can be like almost every part of the blockchain is a configurable parameter that can be tweaked. There's only a handful of them that
but
are.
is it like not all of them are enforceable, or is every parameter as
Yeah, they're all enforceable. Like we could crank up the rewards for staking if we wanted to.
right?
We
Gotcha.
could, change fees to be whatever we want. Like it's
change the amount that goes to the treasury every epoch.
Yep.
We like all of that is configurable. So Nike is tuning in for the hard fork. Hey Trim, thanks for joining us.
So on the particular subject of diminishing return on stake pool operations, is there a minimum it's going to hit? I mean, because I haven't read the paper, obviously. So
it'll go down to zero at some point.
It'll
Like
go down to zero.
Bitcoin does the halvenings, so it goes down in a stair step. Cardano is a curve that goes down.
Yeah, I think they're
but
both
it's
scheduled to last like 150 plus years before it actually like goes to 0-0. But I mean, it's going to be like you have 1 million ADA staked and you get one Lovelace from the monetary expansion, and the idea would be that the network fees offset that. So that's where we need to get transaction volume up and actually get usage on the chain to really offset those things to make staking still a viable investment strategy, essentially.
Which is a key metric, right? Because you really want to start having a lot more content on chain, transaction volume, things like that, from things that are actually offering people real use utility yield, all that kind of good stuff, right? So that, I mean, it makes sense that it's dropping down, and I love the idea that it's doing that because it then creates impetus for others who are actually creating good things on chain that people could make either money with or social, whatever structures, whatever the case may be with, but at the same time, generate some sort of business opportunity from that. And at the same time, we're getting transaction fees on chain. So
1 minute, guys.
Yeah, we are at the 1 minute warning. So here we go. What are you watching on? I've got EUTXO and Cardano scan open, so I can see.
Can we share a screen?
That's a great idea.
I'm watching the fire hose. Make sure drip drops doesn't go down.
That's why we appreciate you, Andrew.
We're not surprised. Why are we not surprised?
Sam is our centralized source of truth on time.
I have to check if my 10.2 node survived the hard fork. That will be funny.
Yeah, anybody that's watching.
Andrew and Jen.
That's nice. EUTXO.org for anybody. Congratulations.
Yeah, EUTXO.org.
Chris, can you share?
Oh man, we got blocks going right to the bleeding edge here.
Yeah. Watch it right now. I love EUTXO.org. It's amazing.
So
it's such a
39.
fun, awesome visualization.
First block from a community pool or
45.
from an exchange?
Oh, well, that's a good bet, man. Stick pool operation gets it.
And 51.
There we are.
All right, let's see. When's the first one gonna come through?
Give it to me.
All right, Kyle, you can have it.
No,
There
that's
it
what
is.
you said about slot battles earlier, Martin. That was me fantasizing about getting the first block and then losing
And
that.
we have look.
Some bullshit.
We've got 2 blocks already.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that was fast.
Welcome to Chengdu, boys and girls.
Like nothing happened.
I think EUTXO might have gone down.
That was underwhelming.
And it just keeps on working.
And it just keeps on working. It's weird.
Shit, we were like expecting it to break or something.
Oh, no,
It's one of the reasons ADA was going down over the last 3 days.
hold on. Let me make sure my shit's up.
Kyle,
Did you forget to upgrade your servers?
No, I did not. I did a good job.
Someone commented earlier and said, "Is that some guy working on a motorcycle in the background?"
So
You haven't
Barry-
been here before.
Who got the first?
Barry made the first one.
Barry, that's a
Barry.
solid choice for making
Alessandro.
the
Oh,
block.
good job.
Good
Good
job,
job.
Alessandro.
Yeah, I'm on tip. I'm good.
Yeah, and I can confirm it's 10-0 protocol version.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, guys.
I can confirm Node 10.2 also survived.
Nice.
There you go. We're testing live.
We are testing live, bleeding edge.
The Drift Drops Ledger State dump is still running.
Oh,
That
okay.
usually takes about 4 or 5 minutes to complete because I've been asking the team to give us smaller Ledger State dumps for about 3 years and nobody's done it yet.
The third block was in battle. Holger.
All right. So since we've got a good amount of people tuning in and everything, it does stand to say now is when we get serious. So it is important if you're just a passive ADA holder out there to go to 1694.io or gov.tools and explore your DREPs. Martin here is a good choice. Kyle is, I guess, a choice. But and there's a ton of other great community members that are DREPs. But the important thing is now you need to either become a DREP yourself and participate in the on-chain governance, or you will need to delegate to one in order to withdraw your staking rewards. So we need to get everybody out there, rock the vote, get the delegations up, and yeah, because it's all on us now. There's nobody else to blame. So it's going to take the entire community getting involved and participating. So
it's a great incentive to do that in order to make sure that people getting
this is us now.
Yeah,
it's like, now
I mean, that was me before the hard fork, so like it's just more of the same.
Now we're all crazy town.
I wanna add to this. Yeah, go out, choose your DREP, or become a DREP yourself. But don't become a DREP just to be a DREP, because we don't want dead DREPs laying around doing nothing. So we want to have an active community. So if you're interested in governance and you want to become a DREP, do so, please. But please then also contribute to the discussions and yeah, do your voting. And if you think governance is nothing for you, you can also yeah, delegate your voting power to your DREP of your choice.
Oh yeah, and probably also real quick, it is fair to say if you want nothing to do with this governance stuff, you can also choose to just automatically abstain. Or if you really think we're heading in the wrong direction, you can also delegate to the auto no confidence, just to say that you hate everything that we're doing here and you don't trust it. So like those are valid options that you can choose, but you still must have made a choice. So get out there and give it a whirl.
And it's not that hard. I did it damn near 60. So I'm almost a boomer. And I managed to do it. So if I can do it and become a DREP and have my voice heard, you can too. Very simple. And it's gotten even easier since I did it. So definitely get out there and do that.
Drops survived the hard fork.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out real quick, like to everybody in the entire community. The chat has been blown up with the fucking homies from the Cardano community. I've seen like everybody I know.
Yes.
I mean, just
Oh,
thousands
really?
and thousands of comments. It's been wild. Thanks for coming and hanging out, homies.
We got good attendance.
18,500 plus viewers already. It's what a crazy day.
Oh, nice. Well, if anybody wants to come in, we don't have anybody waiting backstage, do we? We got a full deck.
No, we're open. Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody wants to come kick it with us, I guess
I can drop off and let some people up.
We got space if you want to chill.
We got some
Is there
room.
anything? We're not going to really talk in too much in-depth governance or anything too much. I mean, we got a lot going on. We're gonna be talking. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about that shit for the next 3-4 weeks. Hardcore. So,
delegate to Holger.
Oh, dude, it's the ZK did dude. Tobes, bro, you got to come hang out with us, man.
Wait, is Holger DREP now?
From
Yeah, Holger's a DREP.
Nice.
Still hanging out in Estonia, getting all his food delivered by a little robot.
That's just goes to show that, there is no discrimination. Literally anybody is allowed to be a D-Rep if the holder is actually allowed. So there you go.
Totally true.
Well, folks, thank you for having me. I just want to remember Matthew Ploman, and may his memory be eternal. And thank you all for having me up here, and see you next time.
Thank you, Sam.
Sam,
Appreciate you
thanks
coming
for
out.
everything, man.
Sam.
You've been a
Sam,
huge part of this whole process.
Before you go, I wish we could have done this with Charles here, but Chris, you want to do that ode to Charles? We dug up an old one, but a good one.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. This is a throwback. This was the first or second time Charles came to hang out with us. Yeah, it's a little
Episode 5
embarrassing.
or something. I think it's a single-digit episode.
Yeah.
So what happens is if the dollar payment rails are compromised, and I don't mean compromised from the outside, but compromised from the inside and abused and taken for granted, then you see alternative systems popping up. And so you see Bitcoin, you see this BRICS currency, you see the Saudi denominating oil trades with China in RMB, and that's not such a big deal. RMB is tied to the dollar, so it's kind of a dollar trade anyway. But it's not using the dollar rails, and so the U.S. dominance in global currency markets is starting to wane, and that's a problem.
Chris, that's the wrong one, man.
It was still a
I
good
know, but I let it play because I wanted to share it anyway.
Right on. Yeah, no.
Wrong clip, but good clip.
Right.
Anyway, here's the one.
You're losing smart money. Maybe a worst case scenario, it's going to be an investor lawsuit or something like that. If you go out there and say, we have all these government deals, we have all this and that, you're done. Chris put you on.
Apparently.
Sorry, I'm not yelling at you, Charles. I'm sorry. I felt like such an asshole. Let me explain myself. I was so tired that night that my intention was to mute my microphone and yawn, but I turned off my freaking camera and yawned.
He's like hanging out with us, and he's like, these assholes. Like,
God damn, Chris. That was
an epic speech with the background music, and Chris just goes,
especially with the background music.
I know.
You can hear Chris so That was awesome, man. Oh, very nice.
Yeah, shout out to Cardano Hieronymus there in the chat. Definitely same vibes as Shelly vibes. I could totally feel that. This is like the completion. I don't want to say the completion because the work's not done, right? But it's like what we started 5 years ago now is finally real, really real, so.
Yeah, it's and we're getting ready to head to a fucking bull run that's going to really, really raise spirits.
Don't get me started.
I know. We're a hell of a lot better off than we were 6 months ago. That's for sure.
Oh, we're doing awesome, man. As far as the bull run goes, get ready because you've got an admin right now that is loading up with people in every aspect of our government that are pro crypto. So, wait for all the different laws and regs that are going to coming out. Some people aren't going to hate it. Some people are going to freaking love it. But everybody's going to enjoy the upside to this because it's absolutely going to be amazing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting from a regulatory standpoint. I mean, strategically, I'm leaning more on the side of being more risky than risk averse.
Yeah, as far as an individual, yes, but at the same time, there should be guardrails put in place. Charles talked about this a little while ago. You having to do with end users' bill of rights. He actually went to Washington and talked about it, and I think he used the F word like 12 times while he was talking about it. I'm like, I love this guy even more. I don't even know, in front of a bunch of people there in Washington.
Can you kind of elaborate a little bit more on that, like end user bill of rights, what that means for a normal person who's not familiar with the self-custodial aspect of crypto? Like,
It's just having protections, right? So the idea is as an end user coming into like just regular traditional finance and you're going to trade something, if somebody has done something surreptitiously and taken something from you, you have legal right to go after them. The beauty of it is that those who have done that had to legally put up their real name, their real business, their real EIN, whatever the case may be, and then legally be compliant in order to be able to operate. From there, then you have legal recourse when it comes to that. So that's extraordinarily important. In blockchain, we haven't had that. It's literally black boxes everywhere. People are just running things until they're not, and then they disappear. So it's a problem, right? And Charles kind of talked about that a little bit. And it's one of those things that we absolutely need because there's a lot of people that want to get involved, that want to invest, but are afraid or worried or concerned because there are these huge hacks all the time. People taking advantage of everybody. So if we can kind of mitigate some of that, that would be amazing.
Thanks, James. I don't know, Chris. You want to think of a crazy question to ask everybody? Why you got two places up? Or is that you and Anthony?
That's me and Anthony. ZK, I just sent you an invite if you want to come hang out with us. Oh, there's Mike.
Yeah, sorry, I got a sick kid at home, so.
Mr. Hornet.
Scramble.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hola, senor.
Hello. Hello, 1, 2.
Check. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
All the way from the Arctic tundra of the north.
The Great White North. Come on, man. Rush? Anybody?
All
All
the
right,
way
Mike,
from
you
our
having technical
51st state.
technical difficulties there?
Maybe
we can hear him, but he can't hear us.
This is great. Guy is like the Cardano governance expert. Can't work a headset on a computer. Like, I love it.
It's like Patrick can't take a photo.
Exactly. Like can run like the premier minting engine on Cardano. Can't take a picture straight up and down to save his life. Like, so it's just. I guess you only have so much room for tech shit in your brain before you have to start throwing irrelevant
The
things
basics
out.
The basics have to go.
Can you hear them?
Yeah, I can now.
Thank you.
So you
Mike,
guys.
Mike saved the hard fork.
No, I was lucky. I was just very lucky. And we should not talk about this. Let's keep on.
Mike's not allowed to talk about it. That's security committee stuff only for now.
Okay.
Here's a community question for you, Jillian, if you want to take it. What do you think about where we're going now in this new era of governance?
I mean, I think it's the right direction. I've never really had a lot to say about governance in particular. My background is in politics, but I was in campaigning, not legislation. It absolutely bores me to tears. So I'm more than happy to delegate to a D-Rep. At one point, Matt was like considering becoming a D-Rep. And I was like, please, God, don't add one more thing to your list of things. Yeah, in general, I think it's absolutely the right direction. I'm very excited to see where it goes. And excited to see, what we as a community make happen now that it's in our hands.
Do it.
Yeah, so I ended up being a D-Rep from Yostian, by the way. But Jenny made me do it.
B's here, so I'm going to step back so she can come in and jam.
So are we there yet? I haven't checked the time.
Oh yeah, we're well past it. That was so 15 minutes ago, man. Like hard work's come and gone. It's over. Like,
it's already gone.
Weird, bro. Like that. Even I know that. You got to make sure your node's still working, man. You want tip?
Mike was so confident in this hard fork tech that he literally slept through the hard fork.
He's probably traversed so many in testnet.
Well, he's got to go work tonight, so you got to give him a break.
But it's really crazy. I mean, we have forked to protocol version 10 in the testnet, I think 20 times or so.
Yeah.
But every time you do it on the testnet, it's like, okay, yeah, it's working. Yeah, okay, no, this is not working. Okay, yeah, let's redo it. Yeah, okay. But it hits different on mainnet. It's really, it really feels like the Shelly hard fork. Yeah, this was really this new era, this new thing. Everyone rushed and registered their stake pools, and yeah, let's see if people are rushing. now and submitting governance proposals.
I hope nobody's rushing to submit anything. Actually, that would be that would be chaotic.
I have checked. So far, we don't have new.
Yeah, I've been refreshing. There's nothing on there yet.
I've got my Reach Your People, so it always notifies me as soon as a
I'm-
new action comes in. Shout out to Nils, because that's a great tool.
I mean, I can directly speak to Marek and Steak Nuts. You're the record holder in the firsts on Cardano.
No, I already beat him to the first action, so I think he gave up on that one. Like,
Yeah, but now in this new era. So Marek, you can submit the info action if you want. So to be the first one this time again.
I think he already.
I already covered
Brian
those
to let
grounds
him
earlier.
Submit the Constitution.
Some of these comments are hilarious. Kyle, looks like you need to clean your room. Somebody's getting brief about that.
He's got like 2 Ducatis in like various stages of decomposition right there. So like, you gotta give him a heart, you gotta give him a break.
No, Diablo's solid.
It's a lot of fun. Love building bikes.
All right, B. So this was your first hard fork as a dev. How do you feel?
What's up, B?
I feel like crying. I mean, oh my god, everything works. What am I supposed to do now? I don't know.
Those are the best kind of releases when they are uneventful.
Yeah, but
Right,
I
but
wanted some chaos. I
almost
wanted
boring.
people to be ripping their hairs out and everything. Like, oh my god, what have we done?
No.
No,
it's just-
we had enough.
Trust me, somebody is a retard. Somebody didn't update their app or something. We're gonna find out. It happens.
That got
every day.
pile up off the floor.
Somebody, yeah, I love it. Hey man, I'm too.
No.
There's always one retard, right, Kyle? Always.
We'll see in a few hours. Oh shit, this app doesn't work, or I can't do any trades on this wallet or whatever. So we'll see.
Adam made sure to make me know, or to make sure that I made sure that check with everybody that all our shit was good before I started talking shit.
Right, yeah, like make sure you have your own house in order before you go and talk about other people not having their stuff working. So luckily,
Adam
we've
knows
all
Kyle
tested
well.
and- oh yeah,
Makes sense. Yeah.
We've been working together for a minute.
So you guys ready to be overwhelmed by governance actions?
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think the first ever actual actionable governance action is going to be about?
Yeah, we were doing bets a little bit earlier on like what
We were.
so we know that the Constitution is slated to go out tomorrow at some time. But is somebody going to put one in tonight, like for a K increase or change some other parameters or treasury withdrawal? What do you think? Maybe just another
No
info
confidence.
action? Yeah, no confidence. Like,
I honestly, with the people that I know who tested on CentralNet, I don't think that's going to happen. There's probably a handful of people right now who knows how to submit a governance action. So I would guess that the Constitution is going to be the first one.
That's based.
all right, so I need to go and
You
submit one
have
as well.
taught half of Cardano how to do this, Mike. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of your minions came along.
Minions? Really?
It's a nice way to say it.
These are good people. What are you talking about?
Mike's minions. That's a
Oh,
whole
I
new
say it
faction
with
name.
love. I say it with love.
With love. Oh, only with love.
Mike's minions. I like it. It'll
wow.
look nice though. The graphs will be the graphics are really nice with a bunch of really filigree and other kinds of cool stuff.
Martin, do you have a script where I can just say submit a new governance action, like, and it just instantly works?
I do have a script to.
See?
Oh,
Like,
Martin, sorry.
The only thing that's not currently enabled in the scripts is to submit parameter changes, because with the governance with the guardrail script, still a bit unclear. I just wanted to wait until we have a new function in the CLI, so we can calculate the costs offline. And not because currently you can only calculate it with an online node. But if there's the need, I can release it right away. It's working. But yeah, let's see.
Adam's just itching to be the first to submit.
I was the first to submit the first, so why not be the first to submit in this, next phase. But I don't have anything good to submit, so we'll see. We'll see how I feel later on tonight.
You could do like everyone else.
Should the next hard fork be called the Quantum Husky hard fork? I feel like we already have one going.
Oh boy.
I think we should admit a K increase to 501. That's what we should do.
A very safe parameter change.
Well, that's
just to be like, can we do it?
Right? Yeah, just checking to make sure it actually
Will
works.
you do 2 parallel K increase proposals at the same time?
We can do one for 499 and one for 450s.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, increase or decrease by 1 in both directions. So all protocol parameter changes have to build off of the previous state. So we're in a state right now, and so you would say, okay, I'm raising it to 501 based on being at 500 right now, and if that goes through, then it kind of invalidates the 4991 automatically because the 4991 was building off of the 500 state. So yeah, protocol parameters and a few other ones are a little bit weird that way, in that they have to build on top of each other.
Quite a few new people are sort of tuning in and finding about this hard fork. There's a question up there. Do you want to take it?
What is this forking about? Yeah, so we're just forking around, and as always on Cardano, upgrading the network with new and improved capabilities so seamlessly that if you blink, you missed it. And so in this case, we had the Chang hard fork back on September 1st of 2024, and that entered us into the age of Voltaire on Cardano, where we had the beginnings of community governance. So we had the SPOs, the stake pool operators, as one of the voting governance bodies, and we had the interim constitutional committee as the second body during what was called the bootstrap phase. And there was a requirement that had to last at least 90 days, which was over at the end of November. And then once we felt that the ecosystem and the software was ready, we would do yet another hard fork, and that would fully unlock the full governance. So we were also in a limited state of what we could do. The only actions that we could do were info actions and protocol parameter changes, and hard fork initiation, right? Obviously. And so now we have access to update the Constitution, have no confidence in the governance system. We can change the Constitutional Committee. We can withdraw from the Treasury, in addition to change protocol parameters, hard fork the network, and of course, info actions. And so the big thing, though, now is that previously all the power was originally with the Genesis key holders. That transitioned into the 7-member ICC and SPOs, and now we have this new third body, the delegated representatives, or DREPs, who now are our third body of governance. And so every single action requires at least 2 of those 3 bodies to vote and agree that it's a good choice. And so that's kind of the new brave era that we're in, is to see if we can get this crazy globally decentralized group of people to all agree on something within the same 30-day time span, and actually accomplish anything meaningful. So tune in, because that's still to be determined.
So the TLDR on that is we did the Chang Bang. That felt good. Now we're forking in public, and it's legal to run down the street with no pants on.
Is it?
I'm not sure about the last part, but okay.
You know what? I'm on the Constitutional Committee. I'll allow it. It's constitutional. Go ahead.
You just threw that in there. Just be careful with the chafing, though. When you're on the motorcycle with that many pants.
Yeah, and maybe we should repeat. If you're staking on Cardano, if you're a community member, be sure to delegate to a DREP in order to withdraw your staking rewards. If you don't don't panic. Your rewards will be accumulated. But if you want to withdraw your stake rewards, you have to delegate to a DREP. This could be another person, or always abstain DREP. But yeah, you have to do it.
And watch out. Some assholes are going to use this as an opportunity to provide you support for for your wallet. So
yeah, be
definitely.
aware of scammers, and also this is also the same for pool operators. So if you're a pool operator and you wanna withdraw your pool rewards, make sure that you have delegated your rewards account of your pool to a DREP. I'm not sure, I don't know if we have tested this, if this already counts with the next epoch boundary, or if it only counts in 2 epochs.
No, it's live now.
With the rewards.
It's because it's based on the protocol version in the protocol. So now that we're in PV10, those withdrawals, with any withdrawal from a rewards account is blocked until you are delegated to a DREP.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not limited to the amount. It's just a thing. Okay.
I think I may have a rewards account not delegated just so I could test it. So
yeah,
we'll see here soon.
Yeah, test it, please. Yeah. But anyways, it if it would work in the next epoch boundary, in 2 epoch boundaries, it would have changed. Yeah.
SPOs can also delegate to auto abstain and no confidence now passively.
Nice. I mean, delegating to DREP is somewhat similar to staking your ADA to earn rewards. In this sense, every ADA is a voting power, and you can be a DREP yourself if you really care about the direction it moves. But if you are choosing to delegate your ADA power on behalf, to someone, make sure you choose someone that's, who cares about the community. Because just like the same mistake people made, delegate to a stake pool that becomes inactive, but you don't move your stake and it stays there not making any money, right? Similarly, your ADA voting power could be delegated to a stale DREP who's not actually doing anything. So choose wisely. It's going to be important.
Well, I mean, if your DREP's not doing anything, you're going to automatically be unstaked to that DREP or delegated to them after a period. I think it's 20 epochs offhand.
No, they become inactive, but you remain staked to them.
Well,
so
that's but
they no longer count as participating, but you can still get your rewards and everything. So
oh, really? Okay, so you don't have to go stake.
Wasting your, excuse me. Yeah, you just be wasting your vote
So
power,
Chris,
right?
can you put 1694.io and gov.tools on the ticker? Because we do have a question in there. Where can we see a list of the DREPs? I'm currently delegating to a stake pool. Is there an issue? So if you're already delegating to a stake pool, you're half right. And so now you just need to choose a DREP. Martin Lang, the one and only down there, is a DREP, so highly recommend. Kyle is a DREP. Don't recommend as much. And there's a ton of other great community members that are DREPs. So yeah, it's the website is 1694.io or gov.tools, TOOLS. And both of those have lists of all the DREPs that are out there, so you can
Also,
review them.
Cardano forum. You can read all the introductions.
You can't delegate from the Cardano forum, right? So it's a little bit.
Adam's giving me good. What do you call it? What's up, Tobes?
Hey, how you guys doing? I was just writing a message to you all to say I've gate crashed your party. I can't believe it.
Oh,
Nice
man.
one.
It's your
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm proud of you all. You're scaring me, but this is exciting. So nice one, really is.
Hey man, can you like maybe tell us real quick? I'm sorry to shift gears. We appreciate you here, but tell us a little bit kind of about the work you're doing in your project and kind of. I know you've done videos on why you're attracted to the ecosystem, but like it's the first time I've ever got a chance to speak to you, and you cook, man, and a lot of these guys cook too, and everybody shows up. We cook together, and sometimes we cook some cool shit. So what are you cooking, man?
Yeah, definitely. And that's a real pleasure to be invited up because, to be honest, I've been keeping a little bit in the background. And I guess, since I turned up, which was I always find a bit of a quite funny story. I've just been trying to learn your ecosystem because it's a big ecosystem. And obviously the ghost chain rumor is quite funny, really, because it's just the total opposite. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking into zero knowledge decentralized DNS, and I've been on this mission, and it's a bit of a stupid mission. Well, it's not a stupid mission, but maybe the way I'm going about it is like quite different to most people in blockchain because I'm trying to build a system that isn't based around a financial token. And so it's like a free system. And then so I'm like trying to keep away investors to protect the protocol. So I've kind of gone against the grain about trying to build a blockchain technology, I guess. But it's been fun, and it's been fun bumping into you guys, and obviously watching what you're doing with this hard fork and decentralized governance. It ties in very much with what I'm looking at and researching and working on. And so I guess in a way, I personally think this is like a perfect timing that I turned up. You know, whether I can pull off what I'm interested in is yet to be seen, but I think it's quite a fun sort of like experiment to try and include into this ecosystem. And so, yeah, without a doubt, slowly meeting more and more of your amazing minds in the ecosystem. And I know I'm a bit outspoken, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think that seems to be part of the Cardano community. That's what people do, and I like it because it keeps people talking, and the community is buzzing. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, cheers. I've literally gate crashed your party. I'm quite proud about that.
Andrew says he confirmed that you must delegate to a DREP right now to withdraw rewards. Oh, you're still here.
So I had one of those wallets I intentionally did not delegate yet, just so I could test when it goes live, and I tried to withdraw rewards from it, and it did fail right now. So
this is
it's working.
Test everything.
Yes,
that's right.
Every edge cases.
Drama, awesome.
And just for clarity and to say it again, you will still earn rewards being delegated to a stake pool. So you don't have to rush choosing a DREP. You do need to choose a DREP, and you should choose a DREP. But your rewards are not going anywhere, and you will continue to get them. You just won't be able to withdraw them from your rewards account to your UTXO balance until you delegate to a DREP or one of the auto abstain or no confidence options.
Is Chris back in the show? No, he's backstage.
He's lurking backstage. I think we still have 10 up here on the screen right now.
I'll jump down. Could I make a suggestion? Am I allowed to plug? Am I allowed to plug the Lalcal DREP? Do you know? Do you know about that?
Shill it like your life depends on it.
There's a group of the Fotrek group have created a Socratic pluralism DREP. So it's like a group of groups where they're doing a kind of a social experiment as a DREP group, and it's called Lalcal. And I highly recommend people checking it out because I think it's another kind of interesting experiment of what will happen in decentralized governance. And on that note, I'll love you all and leave you. Thanks for letting me jump on.
Well, real quick before you jump out, how do you spell that? Because I couldn't translate that from British.
He said,
my apologies. I'll be honest with you. I hope I'm giving the right name. I believe it's Lalkul. And I'm so sorry if I'm giving the wrong name. It is possible.
Yeah, so Lalcal
DREP, I believe.
You said Fotrek. That's Kenrick's stuff. We just sing Kenrick.
Yeah, it is. They're doing this research on this DREP, and it's very interesting. So I think if people are questioning, about something different, check it out. And I'll step down. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely evening. Nice to see you. Cheers.
Later, brother.
Mike, that got me thinking.
I was just, if Chris was here, I was just saying, Adam, we should probably push, and if Tim or Ben, any of you guys we should probably get some communications out about people delegating. Take the opportunity to push that they should delegate to DREP to stake their rewards, because people are going to scam the shit out of people. People aren't going to know how to withdraw their rewards, and people are going to take advantage of that and get in front of that. So we should. Chris, can we get messaging out around that?
Yep.
I had a question for Mike. Is this kind of funky thing possible? Can a bunch of DREPs who already have sufficient amount of ADA amassed behind them get together to then delegate it towards another single DREP, sort of almost like creating a party system? Is that thing possible?
They can collude, but they cannot redirect their voting power somewhere else.
Right. So a bunch of people, like 10 people with like millions of ADA behind them already delegated to them, they couldn't point it towards a single DREP.
No, they can't do that. They can't move because that stake doesn't belong to them, but they can collude together to vote.
Oh yeah, of course, like old school collusion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like create a super PAC,
super PAC, yeah.
Federal, same thing. So absolutely. So I had a question, and now it's escaped me. Go ahead. Anybody else?
I don't know if Martin's talking, but
no, I think it's James. James
I was just saying you can delegate your voting power only once, so one step from you to another one, but not again and again and again. So
right, like you'd have to build a sophisticated smart contract that takes custody of the funds, and you could probably fuck with it with that.
No, because I was just worried about that kind of thing that we have in the real world, like things like super PAC and stuff like that. If there's a way
so there's nothing. Blockchain doesn't fix like traditional offline bribery and collusion, but the DREP themselves can't redelegate. So that's one of the points that I've heard people say, that this isn't truly liquid democracy, because normally in liquid democracy you can have that kind of recursion of delegating, sub-delegating delegation sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, nothing stops, if all of us were DREPs, all of us voting the same way and having some secret offline cabal meeting to figure out how we're going to vote. You're not going to fix that just because blockchain. But I can't let Mike vote on behalf of people that have delegated to me. So like that is not something that I can do. So I would still have to cast the vote, and you'll be able to see Adam cast a vote a certain way. And so if your DREP doesn't vote or doesn't vote the way you think they should, that's a good sign that you should move to a different DREP that does align with your vision and direction for Cardano as an ecosystem.
And DREP redelegation, is it similar to stake pool where it takes 2 epochs for it to become active?
I don't believe so. So because of the way that votes are tallied, I'm pretty sure you can register in this epoch and actually delegate and or cast votes in this epoch, because the tallying doesn't actually happen until the start of the next epoch already. And then it happens during, and so that's where we technically had enough votes for this hard fork to get triggered to become ratified back on the 24th, but it took this whole next epoch to actually go into effect. So it's the vote counting is always lagging by n+1 to put it in the super nerdy technical jargon.
So let's say this morning I chose to delegate to Kyle and then realized it was a mistake and then delegate to somebody else like Martin. But then so I could do that, but then it's only at the following epoch that would.
Yeah, so your power will ever get counted with whoever it's with during the epoch transition. Yeah, at the snapshot.
Nice, yeah.
But is it? I thought it was tallied before the vote during that very same epoch boundary.
It's kind of like there's like a running where are we at right now, but it's only on the epoch boundary when we actually lock in a snapshot that's when voting power is locked. But so you as a DREP can change your vote, or an SPO or a CC member, you can change your vote up until the epoch snapshot, and you can move your delegation right up until that point, and that will change the voting power of that entity in the next epoch. But it's not quite like block production where you have to wait the 2 epochs, because that is more you have to get into the slot lottery, and that's why you need that extra time. Whereas with vote tallying, we don't necessarily need that.
So this is good. So people who delegated to the wrong DREP, let's say getting cancelled on Twitter, you have a chance to quickly move to a new DREP before their vote gets used up.
Yeah, so if you did something silly like delegated to Kyle, you still have time to move your delegation over to Martin. It's not too late, so don't delay. Delegate to a DREP today.
Hey, whoever's fucking paying Adam.
He's a great DREP.
Fucking paying Adam, I'll pay you double.
Hey, Kyle will be the #1 DREP tomorrow.
He will be, and this feels really good because I got on coffee. Usually, I'm
and
the
that's
whipping boy.
totally fine.
I like the fact that Kyle's the whipping boy. I just sit here and just watch the whole thing.
The more we tell them not to stay away from him, everybody wants to go for him.
Yeah, this is actually like just a whole reverse psychology guerrilla advertising campaign to drive delegation to Kyle. So
We could give more examples on that, though. If I delegate to Kyle, for example, and he doesn't vote on anything, and he gets inactive, my delegation.
Well, no, I can do good. Like I can vote with one hand.
my delegation would still stay delegated to him, but if he retires, then it's like the REAP rules, and my delegation goes away. And if I don't redelegate, then I cannot withdraw my reward.
You'll be fine.
yeah, so and you don't have to undelegate from anybody. Once you're delegated to one SPO to a DREP, you can just simply update and delegate to a new SPO or a new DREP.
Okay. Let me get complicated. So, if I recall, I registered a certificate on chain to register as a DREP, right? Can you? And I put a 500 deposit. Okay, cool. So if I deregister my DREP certificate, not just let it go inactive, but get my deposit back, what happens to my constituents' stake?
You lose, you lose their delegations.
But
okay, so now they got to delegate again to get their rewards. Okay,
there you go. Okay.
Yep.
And for those of you who are thinking about maybe becoming a DREP, I can tell you that there's plenty of people out there that if it seems technically hard for you or you're thinking about it, might be an insurmountable feat. There are plenty of people here within our space that are willing to help. Mike actually helped me, went on, screen shared, did the whole thing, and helped me get through some of the problems I had and the hurdles that I had at the beginning. I'm imagining most of those have probably been iterated away. It's much easier to become a DREP. The other side of that is that when you're voting on technical things, in some cases, you don't have to necessarily vote on particular technical things if that's not your forte. It's not required of you in order to be able to do that. So a lot of the technical stuff can be left up to those who are DREPs who are very technical and understand a lot of that. Whereas a lot of the other stuff have to do with treasury, social, all the other stuff that comes along with our society, because literally we just created our own self-governed society, right? You can be a part of that, have a voice in a real way. I've watched people from all over the planet. Kit just recently, Kit Willow became a DREP, and people helped him not only with getting started, but also with the ADA he needed in order to get there, in order to make sure that he had his voice heard from where he lives, right? And so I'm like, this is absolutely amazing that we can do stuff like that. But that's us in a nutshell. That's how we roll, and we want to make sure that everybody has a chance to be a part of this in some way. And having your voice heard is somewhat unusual, especially depending on where you live, right? So this, in some cases, might be very new and also be very empowering and, self-gratifying, really, when you think about it. So get in there, get started, hit anybody else up that's in here, including myself, and we'll be more than happy to be able to direct you or help you as well.
You would also like to add that in those situations where you aren't sure what you want to vote or you don't have like the technical knowledge, I would also turn to your delegate or delegates, because if they have that knowledge and they want you to vote in a certain way, and you are maybe a DREP with a lot of delegation power, I think that's a perfect opportunity to speak with your delegates to understand what they want you to do or they believe is the best solution.
I think that's kind of good advice in general, but I also think that the types of, now that we've tied rewards to forcing delegation, the types of DREPs are going to be parallel to some degree to the types of stakers, meaning that they're going to be positioning for different reasons, right? Like you've got some people that are chasing the lowest margins. You got some people that want to support ecosystem contributors. You've got some people that want ISPO tokens, right? There's different kind of sides of it. And on the DREP side, I think you're going to get groups of people who really just, they don't care, right? And then you'll have people who are staking to people like Martin, who are sophisticated but don't really want to fuck with it, right? So in that case, it would make sense for somebody like Martin to reach out to his constituency, because it, from a high level, in general, I would presume Martin's constituency would be more sophisticated than not. Whereas Bobo YouTuber guy who tweets about high charts. I don't think he should listen to his constituency.
Yeah, and get ready for the rise of popularity contests as well.
Hey, real quick, there's a question here I want to hit in case this might help some other people. And Mike, I'm going to ask you to explain this, but I want to fill out this question. So I just want to make clear for anybody who's not familiar with this, DREP staking and ADA reward staking. These are two different distinct things. They're parallel, right? But they are two very different things. And in general, you don't have to retract your delegation to delegate. You can just delegate. Just move your delegation. But Mike, if you want to take that.
What do you want me to add? You just literally explained.
Would I have to undelegate from my? Sorry, there's questions on the screen. Would I have to undelegate from my current SPO, then redelegate and pay the fee? So I guess for staking in general.
No, for SPO, yeah, that's two different fields in the stake address info. So you don't have to. If you like your SPO, you can just stick with it, and it's just like you have two options, and they both are different. So you can stay with your SPO and delegate to a DREP, or just change that delegation. It has no impacts on your delegation to stake pool operators.
All right, yeah, and so it is just once your address is registered and delegated, like you've already been participating in staking, it's just a simple update to add a DREP delegation. So it's like a simple Cardano transaction fee, 0.17 ADA, nothing crazy. But delegating to a DREP and staking to an SPO are two different functions. They're just tied together in that you have to be delegated to a DREP or be a DREP yourself in order to withdraw your staking reward. So that's how they are connected, but they are two different delegations. And so your delegation to an SPO doesn't need to be the same as your delegate. Your DREP and your SPO can and probably should be two different individuals or groups of people. But yeah, I see Ken, Mr. Joyous Testimony, aka Baggy Pants, in the comments. And he's throwing up the utensils because it's a happy fork day. And we've said the word fork so many times that I'm hungry. So I'm going to go have some proof of steak. I don't know what the rest of y'all are going to do. But thank you all for joining us. If you want to keep hanging out, by all means. But I'm going to drop. So thank you guys. And welcome to the Age of Voltaire.
Bye, Adam. See you, brother.
Bye,
Thank
Adam.
you.
Yeah.
This question, though, I just want to point this out. This question jumped out at me when I saw it because recently I was working with a customer service issue, and this was completely unrelated to the issue I was trying to solve for this user. But I noticed in his wallet history that when he would change pools, he was doing it fairly frequently, a couple times a year, but he would deregister his stake and then re-register to the new pool. And when you do that, not only are you having to, I guess your fees might be a little bit more, but you're going to lose stake for 3 epochs in between every one of those changes you make. So it's much better to if you want to move from this pool to this pool just to move your delegation. Don't be registered. Yep.
That's why I created Fartcoin. I was like, oh, I can make Fartcoin, and I made Fartcoin probably 2 weeks after Spacecoin. We did Space Coins, but the purpose of Fartcoin was, and maybe it'll still fulfill its purpose, was so SPOs could subscribe to a service to sprinkle Fartcoin on their delegators that left. I'd pay for that.
I mean, I got a quick question. There is currently no incentive for being a DREP, right? Unlike the incentive for staking, you get stake reward.
Okay, so the budgets are going to come out. I don't know if they're super public yet, but they being, I think it's probably because I'm a leadership position on committee, but I got visibility into budget that was released. And I can go ahead and say in one of the budgets there is money, a line item for DREP compensation.
But until then, all you're signing up for is public scorn.
That's right. But even still, I think what I saw was top 150. So.
Yeah, that was, I think, a number between 100 and 150 was what was discussed during the DEAR workshops earlier mid last year, to see if there was any way to compensate at least some to make it more attractive for more people. So with the numbers that we have now.
Maybe Adam's trying to kick me out of the top 150.
That actually brings some interesting conversation, because if you have two competing budget info actions and one gives a lot of money to D-reps and the other one is like just a fair amount, then which one's going to pass?
Well,
The one that encourages more rewards.
That's not the conundrum, Michael. The issue, Michael, is that what you do is you put a D-rep compensation package with a bunch of other shit that's not necessary. You understand what I'm saying? And the D-reps see the compensation package and you float a whole bunch of other shit. That's what I'm going to be digging into. So, I mean, I'm not fucking stupid. That's what that's exactly what I would do. I'd put the D-rep compensation package next to the most incendiary shit. And I haven't dug into it yet. I'm just, if I were going to be devious about it, that's what I would do.
It's easier to digest.
Yeah.
Oh, I got money in there. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and everything else is great. You don't even care. It's like, I justify.
If you want to check who you're delegated to for a D-rep, it's going to depend on the wallet provider you're using, the wallet platform. But in Eternal, for example, if you go to staking, there's a D-rep governance little check or whatever. You go over there, that opens up a panel, and you can see who you're delegated to, and if you want to abstain or no confidence or whatever, you can do that. But this next question, has that changed? Is this something new that we cannot just withdraw rewards? You just have to go into your wallet and make that, delegate to somebody or auto abstain or no confidence, and you'll be able to withdraw.
Right. But Chris, to answer his question, yes, that changed. It changed just today, a few hours ago, or an hour and a half ago or so. And it is something very new, and you have to delegate to a D-rep if you want to withdraw rewards moving forward. You will not lose rewards. They'll stack. But you got to go do it.
That's another thing. Because this is now a requirement, a lot of people are going to be talking about going to delegate to a D-rep. Make sure you are doing it in a right place, like a wallet that you use that you trust. Don't click on any links or button or go to a website. Register to me. That's how they get you, man. They'll drain your wallet
every time. Yeah, if you look at Eternal, I love Eternal. I've been with Eternal for a very long time. ETERNL. Just go there, get your wallet extension, and within it, all you need to do is go to account, and then from there, it'll show you where you can go to governance, everything of that nature. You can even set up with your D-rep. It's all very natural, and it happens very easily, and you're not following any links from anywhere, right? Which is the important thing. So, yeah, that's
exactly. It's a wallet level activity. What you delegate and choose a D-rep, just like you're choosing to stake to a stake pool, you'd be doing it in a wallet. So just make sure you do it within the wallet that you use every day and don't click anything.
So Fart Burp says, how do I make my D-rep bigger? You could rub it.
I don't think you're going to go there. You can rub it. There is things you can order online from Amazon too, I think.
I'm thinking about lamb. Yeah, then I was like, Fart Burp's fucking with me.
Yeah, there's some other stuff you can do there as well. Some of it comes from China. Takes a while. Not that I would know.
The approved method is to feed it more data.
It takes a little longer than they say.
I mean, there's a little bit of a lead time there, so you have to, take that into account.
I wouldn't.
I love me. I'm getting her to blush right now. Absolutely.
Don't order during the Chinese New Year.
I just wanted to say, if you don't use Eternal, or if you feel like more comfortable using a platform to delegate, there is Tempo Vote, and they have multiple wallet options that you can use. I'll add the link in our chat or something so that it could be added. Very good tool. It has a list of D-reps and also governance actions and more like interactive way of doing this, I guess, if you're interested in that.
What is that called, B? I'll put it on the banner.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Tempo. I'll send it in our chat here, so you have it.
Okay, cool.
And for the record, we have a couple partners, Vesper, Begin, others that we work with. So I just want to make sure I mention them as well, or to make sure those are also great wallets to go ahead and use, and they provide you that same utility.
Yeah, they have that opportunity as well. So it's really good that they have most wallets there. If you want to have that experience, I guess.
Will anyone be monitoring the D-reps performance? or rather, like how
Yeah,
inactive
yes,
have
there's
they
gonna be
been?
hell yeah, man. The Cardano Karens are gonna have a whole new it's a whole new party for Cardano Karens.
As they should.
Like
I don't appreciate you calling me a Karen, but sure, thank you.
Wow.
No.
Thanks,
I'm talking about
Kyle.
a different breed of people. Oh man,
She's messing with you,
yeah, they're gonna be there. So and so didn't vote on something. You know, his mom's dying in the hospital and some shit, and they're posting. Yeah, it's gonna get weird.
Well, like not like that, but more so like, how have they been leaning? Somebody creating like a nice dashboard showing, how do they lean, how often how active they are. That'll be kind of cool.
I don't know, man. Like if you think about it in terms of if it's something that's being funded through committee, sure, we might get some nice visualization, but I honestly don't think it's a monetizable thing within the ecosystem.
So there is a group called Sync AI with admin, and they are getting into governance. They also are creating their own AI DREP as well, which is going to be interesting. So be on the lookout for that. But they also are going to have solutions that are going to give you data sets, things of that nature that you can view and look at based on the VREPs that are currently within our system, and those who have voted, what they voted on, what their consistency is, if they're voting on every one of them, only on a few of them, what did they vote on consistently, things like that. So there'll be a lot of that coming up too.
That's reasonable. Like analytics on how DREPs are behaving that somebody sells to like a proposing as a proposal guide service or some shit like that, or just insights. Yeah, I can see that.
It's also useful for the the delegates, because what if you delegate it to somebody thinking they'd vote aligned to your views, but then you realize that they campaigned one way, but then they're voting another way.
I think they're kind of. I think even I think people are going to build stuff like that keep people honest, that show people's record, like a DREP directory. I think we'll see that, and I think we'll actually probably see those funded.
Expect Lido Nation to do something like that too, where there will be part of their page, part of their website. They'll have something in there as well.
I can totally see Darlington spinning that up as part of his brand. Yeah.
Sure. It will be interesting to see if DREP delegations are as sticky as pool delegations.
That'll be interesting.
So,
well,
or if it's more fluid because it's only a DREP delegation. It would be
the
interesting.
gamification is where it's going to get interesting. Like, how are people going to gamify this? With stake pools, we had 1% come out. I mean, like, what is going to prevent somebody with a significant stake from doing a treasury withdrawal? Is it a contribution?
Yeah.
We haven't really talked about treasury withdrawals that much, but that's going to be the drama, really.
Dude, that's why half the motherfuckers who were fucking around dealing with governance are doing. They didn't show up when we had treasury activity, right? Like it's all about the treasury right now. There's a lot of money in it. And it's just that we're pulling out, trying to pull out some $200 million this year, which isn't, or 200 million, which isn't unusual compared to that's how much ADA we're giving Catalyst for a while, right?
Right.
But when you look at some of the overhead, I mean, it's when you get down to what core needs versus what's being pulled out, I don't know. You can always scrutinize, I think.
Well, on the other side of that is auditing too, right? So those who are getting treasury disbursements and what they're doing, right, and what the juice versus the squeeze, everything that goes along with that. Is my audio bad?
Yes.
Sorry, Kyle. It is awful. So my bad. I don't know why exactly it is. Crap.
What kind of microphone is it?
A shitty one, Chris?
It sounds like proximity. Like you're not quite close enough.
It's right here. Right here.
Okay.
I see. Yeah. So does it sound any better like that?
Yeah.
If it's close to you, yeah.
Yeah. So
yes.
So I think what's going to happen is that we're going to need some auditing tools within it, right? Performance-based stuff as well. From what I understand, we don't have a lot of that we're working on right now. But as we start to get into this, it's similar to Catalyst. In Catalyst, in the beginning, it was a free-for-all. We had a button where you could get instant money, immediately after you got approved for your voting in the beginning. I think it was in the first 3 funds or what have you. So, we're definitely going to need a bit more of an auditing setup and also a review of those particular things in order to make sure, where we're learning right on certain things that are being taken advantage of, and where to fix those, right? Plug it up, plug the hole, stuff like that. So
one thing I would ask for, if some suggestion comes up that will help plug up the holes, that wasn't accounted for, is to not to do to the catalyst proposals that are in flight. For example, one of the things that happened, I think around 13 or 12, I can't remember, where they introduced the notion of milestones in between, like after the proposal has won and then people start working. So people had to then rush to figure out how to get this, submitted, and it kind of screwed up with quite a few projects. So, like, would it be something that people can vote on and say, this is how we're going to guard the treasury, and then people say yes, and then it goes into effect, or they're going to do it while another catalyst fund is in flight?
Right, which is the issue. And the other part of that is that when you start to have certain issues that are glaring and we're taken advantage of immediately, do we have a way to do immediate action that can get done very, very quickly in order to make sure that it doesn't get done? Somebody else doesn't, gamify or be able to somehow take money that they shouldn't be getting, right? So something along those, so we don't get into committee for a long period of time trying to solve the problem, because everybody has to be a part of it in order to make a good decision as to what to do next, right? So I don't know. Should be interesting to watch this unfold, to be honest. I'll be watching from the outside. I'm not going to get involved in the governance at all. So I'm excited for you guys, though.
What's everybody's top prediction? Like, it can be odd, it can be weird, it can be obvious.
Rename Cardano to Cardanzo.
Cardavo.
What?
It is coming, man. Now,
At
most
some
likely,
point, an exchange, some big exchange is going to come wield some big bag and become a D-rep and do something funky, and it's going to get interesting.
This will be interesting. It
Yeah,
was also interesting in the pool wars from the exchanges, because I think Binance voted abstain. So
That was nice.
they took the position, okay, we're out, and I think Coinbase voted yes on all their pools. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they are doing.
I mean, is that an attack vector if you think about it? Because you
Yeah.
can't really tell them no. Now it's fully decentralized.
Well, I mean, the vector is ultimately, I don't think it's going to be a people-based governance system. I think that that's something that's very special that we get to experience now as a young community. I think entities are going to come in, they're going to secure TVL, they're going to vote with the TVL, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be the most powerful entities that are maneuvering to control governance. I mean, it's a sick-ass revenue-generating machine, and so not all good people are going to come, and just the stake distribution of it right now. I guess it really depends on how that pans out. If we can have a mass event where people drive self-custody first, that's possible, but I don't see that happening. I see services coming in, taking foothold, and then it takes 2 or 3 to get product market fit, and those 2 or 3 are loading, assets into a smart contract that a user doesn't even give a shit about if they have custody or not, because they can see it on their app. Like most people, they don't care about privacy, right? They're posting their whole personal lives on the fucking internet. Like the whole concept of self-custody doesn't make sense until you really need it or you really get it. Most of the people in our space are nerds, and we really get it. We understand what's happening in the economy. So that's the other inflection point, right? Like the economy is changing pretty significantly. Now, the U.S. may be on a weird ass shift. If they do some crazy shit like eliminate income tax and do some funky stuff to really kind of turn it around, then an economic crisis could be averted. But I don't think, I think that's going to be a really tall order to do, because not only do you got to get a lot of revenue, and the debt's pretty nasty. But at that point, we're going to be able to actually provide products that are useful, or our industry is going to become much more tangibly useful than what it is today, which is most people thinking that they can get rich doing lazy shit, right? Trading meme coins or whatever. And that's the majority of at least the adoption that's happening. I think most of it's going to be industrial, it's going to be enterprise, and
I don't think retail is going to come in the way we think they are. I think retail will come in through the banks. I think the banks, there's been an executive order that's been passed. Banks are now allowed to custody crypto assets. It's only a matter of time before they will start advertising those products to their existing customer base. It's a very, very easy way for people to get into crypto. Just, I went to my bank website and I bought a little bit.
Right,
Like,
but it's
that's
bank
it.
custody. Yeah, it's bank
Right.
custody, that, right? So that's what I'm getting at. You can have these entities that amass all this power, and if Cardano is successful in positioning with those entities, then that, to me, that's always been the vector to governance.
Yeah,
I mean, like my 70-year-old parents, they don't own any crypto. If they did, they would do it through their bank.
yeah, but when they do that, the bank's amassing all of this ADA their custody for, and then that's vote power, right? What happens, hypothetically speaking, a couple of entities like this got together and said, we're going to do a treasury withdrawal with our billions of ADA that is currently under our custody. Is that going to be preventable by a constitution community? Would they look at it and say, this is not constitutional? Because it is, because it's
No,
a
it's
treasury.
constitutional. The only protection against that is don't give them your ADA. Don't sell them your ADA.
I will
We've been
say I
talking about
just got off. Oh, sorry. I just got off a call with the delegates where they're working on the definitions, and that was one of the things that we were discussing, like who actually owns the ADA, and what are they able to do about it. And if this type of sentence was in there, we would be able to stop it, because if you then use your power by the power given to you by the people who are under your custody, that would be unconstitutional. But if that is not there, then it's a bit funnier to discuss.
But it's terms of service, right? I can sneak in my terms of service. I can put anything I want. People are going to click OK.
Yeah.
You know, I just tweak the terms. I mean, how can we crack? And that is something that I honestly don't think custodians should be allowed to vote just because of the vector.
Isn't that the same as an exchange?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are, you know, if you give them permission. So you just put terms, right? You put in your terms that, hey, you know, I'm going to be able to have full power of attorney or what. You know, I don't
We
know.
also didn't. We never wanted exchanges and other custodians to even be allowed to stake.
That's
like
right.
that's why the enterprise address existed. They just all saw like, well, there's nothing stopping me from staking and taking more ADA, so they did.
Yes.
It's the same thing with the voting. Like, there's nothing preventing them. It's a permissionless blockchain, so they will do it.
What if you had a cap on how much delegation you can get, similar to how much delegation you can have before you stop producing blocks on a stake?
You can split it the same way. You
Yeah,
can
they'll
split a
probably
stake pool.
split it into hundreds of T-reps.
Yeah. There's in a permissionless chain, there really is no way to prevent that. In fact, I think they probably should not have ever done that with stake pools. Just because there are, I don't think it did what they originally wanted it to do. So
would it help if exchanges or, you know, maybe in the future banks had a governance body that interacted within the community to make sound and educated decisions based
I mean, they could choose to do that with their existing structure. So everybody gets those little ballots in the mail when you own stock, and you
Right.
get a say in their board meeting or whatever. They could do something similar. You know, if there's something in particular they want to poll their community of crypto holders with, they could do that. Will they choose to do that? Probably not, but who knows?
Yeah, most people are lazy. That's why when they buy ADA or any other crypto, they leave it on the exchange out of convenience, because there's just one login there to remember to get access to it, right? So complacency will lead to them amassing all this ADA power.
A lot of people don't understand that. Like, they don't even know that that's a thing. ADA holders or crypto holders that are leaving their crypto on the exchanges, like, there's a huge learning curve involved with, you know, one, purchasing crypto, and then two, self-custody of crypto. And then the whole other side of it is like beyond what just crypto is. Most of them understand it as, storage of wealth, and that's fine. But very few understand, because it's so new, that it is actual voting power. So they have no clue that having it in an exchange is forfeiting their voting power and sometimes their staking rewards. I go through this all the time with, new people, and, the first step is obviously the exchange interaction and then buying it on there. And then they're finally comfortable with that and they want to, self-custody, and, you start bringing them down the rabbit hole slowly. Most have no idea. There's no clue at all. There's no explanation. When you go to Kraken or Coinbase or Binance or whatever, they're not incentivized for you to take your crypto off the exchange. So of course they're never going to inform you or have a pop-up message when you buy ADA like, hey, if you don't remove this from the exchange, you're ultimately forfeiting your staking rewards and your voting power.
Well, that's another thing I've noticed on a couple of exchanges recently. Now that staking is a thing and more people, like after Ethereum switched over and obviously with Cardano, they are actually advocating people to go into their settings and toggle their staking on it. And I've noticed that they are giving a higher percentage APR than you would if you were to delegate to one of the top performing stake pool individually. Like that's another reason why, which would keep people on there, on those. I don't know how they're doing it, where they're subsidizing their remaining fee, things from, probably from the ADA they make.
So yeah, it could
Also
be
remember that they also have a lot of slippage, so they also earn money on that. So when you buy it there, they're basically just paying themselves, so they can pay that out to the people who are staking with them.
Or they could be pledging it too into
like
pledge.
100% pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
and
you said,
they're also counting on people not because they set like different periods. I know Binance, for example, they have like you can stake it for locked for 9 months, and then if you forfeit it, you lose your entire rights. And they're basically counting on people not doing the full 9 months, and then they'll be able to pay the other people who actually managed to. So yeah.
It is highly lucrative where they show you these breakdowns, like if you stake for 1 month, you get this.
What's the basis points that they're offering? Like how much over staking in a
like
self
6% or something last time I checked.
That is if you lock it from
lock
what
it
I
for like
understand.
9
But I
months.
think if you don't lock it, it's like 2%. So it's half of what you would do if you actually if you took it off chain. But they're incentivizing people by having them lock it, and then they also have that ADA on their platform. They create volume on that, and then that's what they can borrow out to other people to trade with, I guess.
That's why they're able to pay more.
Right. They can leverage that too, right? So when you get into a termed type deal, it's like a CD or something like that. You give it to the bank, they give you a CD, they give you a 2.5% rate, and then from there they go ahead and loan that money out to somewhere else, and they make more money on that money. So they're probably more than likely there's somewhere in their terms of service, like what Kyle said. Once you click that button, you go with the term, then from there they're able to leverage that particular asset for themselves in other things and make money off it. That's the whole goal of that. Anyway.
Well, that's exactly what happened. That's risky though, because that's what happened to FTX.
Yeah, in a real house of cards way. They absolutely. I mean, it was crazy what they did. They were literally buying companies to get their tokens to leverage them somewhere else. It was amazing how many people they had bought in order to make that happen, and then leverage that asset and make that house of cards that we have, which we currently have anyway. I mean, that's the whole point of some of the commercial paper and things like that they had. That's one of the reasons that China was almost, they almost went under with having to do with their housing market and things like that. So one of the reasons in 08, 09 we went through, right, and stuff like that, where they're literally getting the loans, taking the loans, selling the loans to somebody else, and then leveraging that asset as an asset and getting a loan on it. And then another one, taking that, using it, and then getting a loan on it. Next thing you know, you got like loans on an asset that started, and it's 10 times deep. Into what they've done. It's absolutely insane, some of the stuff they do. So but yeah,
not just crypto, but it happens in the real world as well, like in terms of taxes. Like my income is taxed, but the moment I buy something I tax, and the moment he receives it, the shop owner, they're taxed. Somebody made a tweet about this before. We've probably seen it, hundreds of different variations of it. There's
a funny
something new.
There's a funny video on that. It's a girl, and she's like crying because she just joined like the workforce, and she's like, I don't get it. I don't get how they tax tax me, and then they tax everything I buy, and then what happens to all the money? Does it just all eventually go back into taxes, or like she's like realizing like life? It's
what's
that is
FICA?
funny.
Hey, Kyle. So if they get rid of the cap gains tax in the U.S., you going to move back here? I mean, I don't know if they're going to honor.
I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, I don't have any fucking reason to stay here. I'm doing all this.
You're almost a native, man. You may as well just.
This is the
I
guy who moved his motorcycle like 2 weeks ago.
He's damn near a native. You're right, Ed. There's no question.
Forever. It's fucking Bull Run. I get motorcycles at Bull Run year. Like that's the fucking. I'm happy. Like I'm good. Yeah, no. Like I mean, if they do no capital gains, I'll be tempted. If they do no income, I'm fucking done. I'm coming.
They're not going to do no cap gains, but my guess is in order to spur interest into our sector, because we're still a very nascent sector. I mean, what, $3 trillion right now or something like that? It's relatively small. So ultimately, if they could get a bunch of people to start leaning in by offering, a tiered setup, right? So 8, 12, and 14% on cap gains, depending on your length or term that you held it before you sold, or something like that. I could see that happening. That would be a responsible way to go and not create a crazy FOMO, and shit like that.
That's less appealing to me than zero federal income. If we get no federal income and just put it on sales tax.
Yeah, they're hinging that entire zero income tax on tariffs. And so we're going back to that days. I don't think that's going to happen.
It's not possible. It's mathematically, I don't think, possible. You have to hitch it to sales tax. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a nice thing to talk about. Works well when you're talking about it and the public hears it and they go, yay, but it's absolutely not going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe overtime, that'll go away. The overtime tax will go away. Tax on tips will go away. There's some things that they could do, So.
But that'd be nice. Like that would be super nice for the U.S. to get its shit in order and for it to give crazy incentives to the entrepreneurs it's fucking persecuted for the past 4 or 5 years. It'd be nice.
Big time, man. Expect it. There's no question.
It's so backwards because why don't we figure out how much money we need to operate a proper government, and then figure out what kind of taxes we need to implement to fulfill that amount? It just can't be a fucking infinite amount. You just keep paying.
This is what happens when you have fucking public funds available. You have motherfuckers show up who that's their game plan in life. I'm gonna feed my family by mooching off of this opportunity or whatever the fuck.
Valentine.
Someone teach Valentine.
Val. Yeah, Val's here. What's up, homie?
Is he in the chat or is he gonna come hang out?
Happy hard fork, Val.
Is that the French version of Plumen? Plumen.
Plumen.
It's very late for him, so he's probably
Plumen.
Well,
Val was the founder of Token, one of the very early.
He's an OG, man.
Yep, OG.
I'm waving to your son, Chris. What's up, Val?
I just wanted to answer a question that came in the chat earlier about why some of the DREP introductions are not in the Cardano forum, and they're in GovTools. GovTools is the registry. I think or Cardano forum, you have to do it yourself, basically. So it's not incentivized the same way. So it's just a forum. You go in and you write whatever it is you want to write and introduce yourself. And yeah, so very different areas to introduce yourself.
And prone to human error.
Explored using Cardano forum APIs is the correct answer, I think.
I didn't hear what you said, but it sounded beautiful.
Oh, I said GovTools probably maybe should have explored using APIs to interface with Cardano Forum. But I don't think Cardano Forum allows that, do they?
Anyways.
Hey, so when Cardano Summit Puerto Rico? That's what I'm wondering. I mean,
what?
You can go anywhere now, right? I mean, we're not beholden to CF anymore, right? So
yeah. Well, until they vote.
Wait, they're gonna vote? Oh yeah, that's right. They're gonna vote. They finally got engaged. They woke up from a 600-year sleep.
Oh, but they did it it wasn't even a gentle,
graceful.
They threw water on your face, bitch, slapped you with a foot. It's like, wake up, bitch!
Yeah, 3 days before the yes.
my boat.
Why do you have that?
That was awesome.
You got to put Frederick's head on Forrest Gump.
He totally do.
Dude,
Yes.
that was like Cardano's voting or CF's voting power. You know, just
Yeah.
my vote.
That's my boat.
Yeah, so waited till the last minute. It's like the race has already started. And they're like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to join the race now. You know,
Well,
it's
what's
already
so
2 laps
crazy
in. Like, what are you doing?
Whoa, man, you just ran through a big pile of dog shit. It happens. What, shit? Sometimes.
You know,
who clipped those? Who did that?
That's totally Chris.
Yeah, gotta be Chris. That was awesome.
We could probably revisit that bobblehead video we did way back when. Remember where Drippy drop kicks Charles?
Oh yeah.
We could probably revisit that and do like the CF dudes on one side and a bunch of IO dudes on the other side.
Yeah, that was
I want
Anthony Cardano that made that one.
I want a cage match, man. You know, some sort of like, you know, or like, you know, mud wrestling. I don't know what, you know, Frederick and Charles getting in there and having at it, man. Let's go.
Oh yeah, a little midget mud wrestling.
Hell yeah, man.
That
Like
should be the first governance action. We should just like, you know, put it on screen and then expect him to do that.
Yes.
See, that sounds awesome.
You have to fight now. We voted.
Can you imagine the amount of action on Bodega? I mean, come on, give me a break.
Okay, who have their contacts? We need them right now. Right now.
Absolutely need that to happen. There's no question.
Charles
Hey.
and Fred, you guys better start training. You got a fight coming up.
Hey guys, it was an honor to be with you through this hard fuck. It's getting a bit late here in Austria.
Hey Martin,
All right, brother.
So, see you the next
I'm gonna
days.
go too. It's
Thank you,
later
man.
in Norway, so
Yep.
see you guys.
Hey,
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, guys, let's shut it down.
Well, hang on. We're at 29,832 views and counting. They were counting pretty quickly, so let's see if we can actually
We
break
got
it.
168.
What are we trying to get to here?
30,000.
30,000.
What are you watching? What are you watching?
Don't worry about it. Just everybody
Shut up,
retweet the
Todd.
damn space.
Where all these
Miles.
views coming from?
Say
He's
something
making-
really crazy right now. That'll bring us over the top very, very quickly.
Yeah, it was on Twitter, so Charles retweeted it, and therefore more people saw it, I guess.
No, there's only 800 views on Twitter. What are you talking about?
From his retweet. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh,
Yeah, you don't see the live view ticker?
yeah. That's not live view. Is it live now or?
It's moving around, so I'd assume it's live.
Oh, it's not. It's decreasing because it used to be
I
just
don't know.
incremental. They may have
No.
changed the algo. It used to just be incremental.
No, it's increasing. Hey, here's a question for you. Kyle.
I know it's increasing. You know what I'm saying? It won't ever decrease.
All right, Bill Wise asking. He said, "Sorry for the new question, but if the goal is for Cardano to be decentralized, what is the logic behind keeping the K perimeter low at 500, where a K
Okay.
higher
The
K? Go
goal,
ahead.
stop. The goal is not decentralization. The goal is censorship resistance. Decentralization is a tactic to achieve censorship resistance. We're effectively decentralized. We have more than enough stateful operators. I think we've got over 1,000 operators minting regularly, 3,000 minting periodically. So,
And where does it stop there? I mean, couldn't we just make everyone a pool? Every single person that's holding one ADA a pool operator?
there needs to be a
You know?
profitable opportunity for stateful operators, number one. Number two is there's a phenomena that I found, and it's not with all the revenue we have, but when certain operators are able to sustain themselves, they're also able to contribute more to the ecosystem, and certain ones do. I would say, and this is total bullshit fucking out of my ass number, maybe 20% of stateful operators are actively contributing to the ecosystem, and just further decentralizing it weakens their ability to contribute as well. So ultimately we need some degree of centralization, but the real goal of
why we need to collaborate now is we've got a reward reserves pot, which is keeping the whole fucking train going. So every 5 days, we're giving out rewards that are coming out of this depleting reserves pot. Also included in those rewards is fees that we earn from transaction revenue, right? Protocol revenue fees. And so that's only about 1% of the revenue we have, but we've got to get those transactions up about 100 to 150x on the revenue side to replace depleting reward reserves. So we still have reserves for stake pool operators. Now, that doesn't mean we can't look at redoing the whole staking mechanism entirely, but I think we are sufficiently decentralized to achieve censorship resistance. And we are in a very interesting weak state because we have not achieved sustainable equilibrium. And right now, blowing the K parameter out of the water is not even a discussion I think is worth having right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Kyle, if they raise the K parameter to 1,000, for example, that's one of the proposals that goes up, and let's say it gets voted on and it succeeds, that changes the saturation point of every stake pool that are currently already active as well. So yeah, it's inevitable. So what's going to happen is every stake pool then split their stake pool into 1 and 2 and tell the delegators go stake here and there, and not technically solving the problem either.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Well, no, it would to a degree, because some of the smaller pools that are not producing as many blocks or very few blocks would start producing more. Their likelihood to produce would.
Yeah, and it wouldn't affect pools like me, because even if it cut the saturation point in half, all of my pools, would still be under saturation. And so you see what I'm saying? So I'd still be fine.
But not everybody in a similar state. Like somebody could be up right
No,
now.
the bigger operators are just going to split their infrastructure, right? They're going to support their customers. They have a customer base, their constituency, and some may not. Some may choose to not. But we've increased K before in the past, and we didn't see the result that everybody thought we were going to see, right? Stake was sticky. It was very sticky, you know. And you got to think, why do people stake to other people in the ecosystem? Some people believe in that mantra. Oh, hey, I want to help small pool operators. I want to further decentralize Cardano. It's a noble approach, but it's a tactic. It's not the goal, right? So that's one type of staker. There's other types of stakers that just want that 0% margin. They don't give a shit. They just want the lowest fee possible.
You guys got to remember that ADA is the hash power. There's only so much hash power, so you can only get decentralized here.
Well, that's true too. But you know, the other types of customers, you've got people who stake to people who are maybe they're chasing an ISPO token, but then you've got the people who are staking to people who are contributing to the ecosystem. And there's no amount of K that's ever going to move that stake. That's sticky stake, right? Those are customers that are staking to guys like Rick and myself and Bloompool and Anthony. And so what happens is you get new competitors to the space that want to compete. And I'm all about fair competition. It took me a hell of a lot of work to start minting my first blocks, right? Like it just didn't come to anybody. Everybody's success story has a lot of work behind it. But there's not a narrative against the larger threats to the ecosystem, right? People who aren't necessarily contributing in active, positive ways, but still have very large number of pools. And I'm not saying that they're bad for the ecosystem, but you've got large exchanges, right? That's a different vector versus going after. But basically, the whole K narrative, it's a marketing tactic in my mind by pool operators that want business to come easier, freer, cheaper, or whatever. And it's a tactic.
I feel like the effort they used to complain would be better used to convince the people who leave their ADA on the table on exchanges and say, take it out and take it on my pool.
I mean, yeah, shit.
But it becomes harder when the exchanges are basically giving more APR on their stake than the native pool itself can give.
Yeah, it's a very competitive environment.
So what reduces the number of pools? I'm curious with you guys, because I've always thought like there's too many pools in Cardano,
Yeah.
quite honestly.
To
And
reduce it,
it's oversaturated. And what's the a sweet spot for the amount of pools that you absolutely need? And then how do you create barriers or incentives to get there?
to reduce it, I've always advocated for A naught, messing with the A naught parameter. The higher the pledge, the higher the reward. So it forces your pool operator to put all of their eggs in one bag, or as much as they can into their pledge to reward their delegates a higher percent.
Putting your skin in the game, basically.
Yeah, and that's, I think that was part of the problem. I mean, because A naught, it's still there. So let me explain A naught.
Well, it was too aggressive.
When you have zero ADA pledge or 1 ADA pledge versus full saturation pool in pledge, what is it, 72 million or something like that, your rewards per a block are increased by 30%. So you get 30% more ADA per a block.
That's at a 0.3 A naught.
Right, at a 0.3 A naught. It's not very much now, and the difference is very small. So you'd have to look at the average pledge, which I believe is around 250,000 ADA, and
it makes pledge irrelevant. You've got to.
It does right now. It makes pledge irrelevant.
But here's where I disagree with Anthony. If you had a high A naught, and that would make somebody like Anthony's pool bloom appear more competitive, right? And Anthony would do very well, and that's okay. He's got good stake in the game. But what it would really do is it would increase significantly the motherfuckers who have a higher pledge to saturation ratio.
You would be crazy.
That had like 50 million or 60 million stake, the rich boys here, the motherfuckers who actually have the bags here, they would suck up all the rewards a hell of a lot
faster. You have to have it capped at some point.
Even though you would get more rewards, there'd be less rewards for everybody else. It would be bad. And that's why
you are right about that.
Right.
So
it would cause a problem on the big bag side of things versus the small bag.
But it would extract from the small bag side of things too, because all those rewards would flow to the much bigger bags. You see what I'm saying?
You'd essentially have to have a smaller window, so it'd be like a mixture of K change. So your saturation level would be 30 million, but your optimization
that's right. Yeah. So
you'd have to mess with both of those parameters together to optimize.
Yeah, if they got
medium pools is what you want.
If they got the saturation point down to 8 million or something, now I could see pool operators having an incentive, maybe even 4 million, to stack it. You probably have to have it closer to like 16.
Well, even if you had saturation at 15 million, and A naught was up.
And just to kind of answer somebody that mentioned it's impressive to hear how is it bad to have too many stake pools. We're not necessarily talking about that so much as that some of the pools, some of the pools are not necessarily doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're just kind of hanging on. They're really not making any inroads into garnering any yield or stake. They're not pushing into the ecosystem and doing something outside of that in order to market themselves. And at some point, you start to think like, how many of those do we need on there, right? So it just, I get it, but at the same time, you don't want to increase the entry level where you can't get in, no matter where you live either. So I understand that as well, but it's just one of those things where.
Isn't there also a technical reason why the K has to be sort of some certain level? Because we do have a fixed block size and we do have a fixed block time.
The number one reason it has to be a certain level so people have something to argue about. There's two things that'll start arguments. That's Cardano staking perimeters and politics.
How many times have been Cardano over coffee talking about K parameter? My God.
We've had this discussion like many, many, many times before. But the block time and the block size. So I don't know. I need to check with Andrew, but like I wondered back then when we had the congestion during the peak of the NFT, hype cycle, there was a lot of transaction happening, people minting, just one new project minting will just grind the chain to a halt, where transaction would take like 10, 40 minutes for it to succeed, right? At that point, I wondered, had we had more stake pool eligible to win blocks, let's say K was 1,000, we have helped with that concession. If we wouldn't have, then why? You know.
Well,
Yeah.
too many. I mean, it says this is depressing to hear. How are too many stake pools bad? Why are you guys discussing limiting? It's not limiting decentralization, man. Like there's a point too where arguably it becomes
Diminishing
unsustainable.
return.
Right? You got costs for ADA, which is one thing, and then you've also got network propagation. There is such thing as being too decentralized. That's what I'm saying. Decentralization isn't the goal. Censorship resistance is. You got to get off that. You know, we were trying to build a system that no God or government or force of nature can stop. That's the goal, right? Like,
Right.
if people have an opportunity in that, that's fantastic. You know, we want to create an ecosystem for that, but the K parameter in itself isn't enough to change the game. We've lived through it. We've
Right.
seen it. I've seen generations of stake pool operators come. I've seen them fail and I've seen them succeed, and I've helped hundreds of them, you know, be there. So I understand where you're coming from. We want as many people here as possible, but the narrative of sustainability for the ecosystem, that's not the fight to fight. Like, sure, you know, like, what is it? Good. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. That's what the K argument is right now. You know, I spend 20 hours a week volunteering for Intersect, trying to figure out product roadmap and governance to make sure founding entities aren't tearing their fucking heads off, right? And like, so there's different elements of participation. Do I want to potentially give up, you know, do I think it's necessary to give, you know, throw a governance parameter that's not going to take any of my stake, none whatsoever. You know, if somebody wants to come and try to take one of my customers, please do. That's the whole thing. Like there's groups of stake that is never going to leave the people they're believing in it, because they don't give a shit about the return rewards. They're banking on their staking to that individual as something that's going to contribute to the ecosystem that gives them far greater than their tangible epoch returns, right? And the value of the asset. So, I mean, I hear where you're coming from, but it's a permissionless system, and that's what the beauty about it. Nobody can stop anybody from showing up. You know, the Dave Pool guy, I helped him get going in his first block. He came out and he's always just, you know, been real good. He worked real hard and got people to pay attention to him. And he got his stake up, I think, over 15 million within a couple months, right? So, I mean, this whole K narrative, not for decentralization, you know, you're going to say that, F that to me, man, F that to you, dude. Seriously.
And shout out to Steve-O down there, man. And Salt Pool for anybody who
Salt
doesn't know.
Pool.
Steve-O is Salt Pool.
Steve-O.
See you in Vegas, bro.
Good
Good to see
dude.
you, bro.
That's a good dude.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I was talking to him on Discord the other day, and he was like, "Okay, I'm going to the grand battle,
Hydra Doom.
Hydra Doom in Vegas," and I was like, "Sweet," and I thought he was a finalist, and I thought he was a finalist. He thought that it was the semifinals. So
yeah, no, that wasn't the semifinals. That was the finals, man. And see, he was talking to me a little bit about that, man. And I was actually talking to the finalists afterwards. And getting to the final was ridiculously hard. One of the guys was a professional gamer. The other three were not. And
finality or fatality.
Yeah, fatality. He's that guy. Okay, he's not just a professional. He's won like 5 gaming championships. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Like 12, a dozen, yeah, but
that's like playing against basketball against an NBA player in your yard.
Right.
This is crazy, dude. Like,
I watched him in the 2 first rounds, and he just crushed everybody. The 3rd round, he decided to sit back a little bit. I asked him about this later. He did say that he might have sat back a little bit on the 3rd round because he already won it. You know, he'd already won the thing with the amount of mints that he had on kills.
Yeah, I think he was there to help support the event. Yeah. Right. I mean, like, and so he wasn't there as a competitor to take the spotlight. Like, that'd just be like, you know, like you hire a company to come support, they just come in and just shit on everybody. Like,
Yeah.
But it was good.
And he talked about getting involved, man. He didn't even know it was happening. Somebody told him about it, and then he just jumped in. He's like, "Oh, I love this game." Yeah. So the beauty of it is that I already got a chat going with one of the guys that won on his experience, right? On what that was, because this is relatively new to us. and potentially a great marketing tool that Trim just thought out of his head to be able to make using Hydra, right? And what's next? And I think there are some things that are going to be coming from this, and we're going to see a few other competitions come from this because it engages people at a level. You know how it goes, man. You show up to something and it's cool, but if there's something to get engaged in and you can compete with your buddies on, you're having a hell of a lot funner time. At least for
Yep.
me, that's the way I am, man. And I'm having a hell of a lot funner time than just sitting around bullshit. So it's definitely one of those things. I think that we will start to see more people come in, and maybe a huge part of the gaming industry starts to see that. Other people see that they make money from it, and then we see other gaming companies come in competitions doing the same thing. It'll be absolutely amazing.
It was a really killer event. The production quality was insanely high. Romain, the CTO of IO, he posted a video, and I've got it here. It's a short clip. I'm just going to share it so anybody who hadn't seen it can see it.
8-hour lead, 3 behind our second place finish. Yeah, so he got 8 kills in the game. He eventually did now. He's just trying to get him out. He had a great run though. Now he's got to try and find out how do I get back on the game. He's going to get back on the game. Block on the plus leader, and then eventually I think he wants to get that shot.
So,
Yeah, I mean, okay,
and
so
that's just a small little window into what was going on, but it was a cool event from what I could see at home.
We got a Charles Nanny fan in the chat. Charles Hoskin reveals Cardano's roadmap to full decentralization in 2025. These guys saying decentralization is the goal on his own channel. I don't know what the whole channel comment means, but decentralization is a tactic, not a goal. It's a tactic to achieve censorship resistance. So I get what you're saying in the argument, but you're nitpicking some silly shit. But your name's Noni, so that makes sense.
I mean, there's that. You know what I mean? So
that's why anytime these like staking conversations come up, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, everybody's got
every time.
And point number 2, Charles doesn't own the community vision anymore. We are fully decentralized in a sense, right? We are sufficiently decentralized. That's the whole fucking point, right? We're there. The community owns the ecosystem now. We're responsible for facilitating the vision.
And I
think, I mean, you're being ridiculous.
Decentralized.
All right, let's stay focused. Today's about the hard fork.
If you guys look though at the history of decentralized and where it comes from in Bitcoin, originally the concept of being decentralized was to prevent a 51% attack, or what we know as a Sybil attack here. That was the whole point of decentralization. It was that one person or one entity doesn't control over 50% of the asset. In this case, ADA, in my opinion, has a higher value asset because it is the hash power.
There's facets of decentralization, right? Like you've got decentralization of staking power. You've got decentralization of key ownership. You've got decentralization of infrastructure. You've got decentralization of ADA ownership. Fuck. And so all these various tactics make sense. People were saying, oh, raise K is for decentralization, while you're totally fucking ignoring the key aspect in that a lot of people run pools for other people, and most SPOs don't run their own pools. They pay somebody else to run their pools. So you want to increase K, sure, you can increase the business for the few guys that are running pools for everybody else. Yay, decentralization. Right. So, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. You just throw it out there. Like, it's not nuanced. It's fucking nuanced.
Decentralization on Bitcoin was never pertaining to block production. It was pertaining to asset ownership.
Yeah, so the other side of that is that every single person now is a Cardano citizen. You know, no longer are they really representing Cardano like Charles would be. Charles is the founder, always be the founder, but he is a regular citizen like everybody else now. You know, as far as what we've just done with Voltaire. So from there, everybody's going to be building on their own, doing their own thing. You're going to see Charles bringing out a lot more stuff. Talk about what he's doing with IO and all the other companies he's using. You see Virgo do the same thing. You're going to see CF. I'm not sure what CF's going to do. But at the same time, we're going to see a variety of that stuff happening And then from there, yeah, I'm not really sure anybody's roadmap is going to be the roadmap that we're going to be following, to be honest. So
yep,
yeah, definitely.
What do you mean? I mean, for Cardano roadmap?
Yeah, it's like we're going to set our own pace now based on more of a community effort versus one particular person saying, "Hey, I got an idea. We're going this way."
It's absolutely going to be a community effort, and I can talk a little bit about that. I know IO published their roadmap. I'm not supposed to get into too much about the discussion on the hard fork party, but that's IO's envisioning for that, but it's definitely not set in stone. So from a product committee standpoint, we will be facilitating both a 2025 and through a 2030 vision and roadmap for the community, and so part of that is start with the baseline, but we need to be able to get that done this year so we can really align where funding and budgeting is allocated, right? And so the community hasn't had an opportunity to do that. It was pretty much kind of set in stone, and there wasn't a whole lot of community input, at least into the 2025 budget, just because of the timing of how Intersect was set up. Product committee didn't come together until August and really wasn't really functional until September timeframe or so. That being said, within the next few days, I would hope that something comes out relevant to an announcement of how that process is going to be facilitated. And yes, it absolutely is driven by the community. And that's assuming Intersect survives. If that doesn't happen, we'll figure something out. But it's not an IO Charles show anymore, and
there's almost 32,000 people watching right now. That is crazy.
What are you seeing this number on?
That's how many unique. That's how many unique viewers have watched during the whole thing. It's not all at one time.
Oh, it's not all at once.
Even after we go offline, it'll
still,
continue to count as people watch it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and the comment Kyle's making having to do with member-based organizations. It doesn't need to be just.
Oh my God!
I mean, there's going to be plenty of them, and I think a lot of them are going to be maybe specialized. It might be one is just specifically all they want is open source. So we're going to have a members-based organization specifically for open source. That's all they're going to do. We're going to have another one that's based in having to do with entering different sectors of traditional markets and things like that, right? And or one that's just solely based for VCs, funding, things of that nature, and then those that they can garner together from outsider space to join that members-based organization will be absolutely amazing. So we should see a lot of those come online as we keep going.
And I think what's most important when you look at blockchain tech, like even from the beginning, the biggest concerns were always, can the government shut it down? That's always been a huge concern. And so the number one concern was, avoiding a 51% or a Sybil attack.
Yeah,
and then number two was the redundancy. And
can the government shut it down? And that's a lot of things. Can they attack a fucking company like IO? That's censorship resistance, right? That's the goal. It's censorship resistance, stopping the fucking it from being stopped, stopping the nodes from running, stopping the fucking me from sending Ant money. It's stopping IO from performing. Like that's what this push for governance was. It gave IO legal latitude.
But you look at examples in like proof of work. So you guys remember there was quite a few years ago, someone had set up a Bitcoin mining setup on like some natural gas thing in a mountain in the middle of fucking nowhere. And that wasn't because they wanted to mine Bitcoin. It's because they wanted a copy of the ledger that could never, ever, ever be shut down. So if every other miner in the world went down except for that one, they could restore the whole network based on that one miner. That's redundancy. That is what decentralization is. You cannot stop Bitcoin anymore. Same thing with Cardano. I mean, there's people running bare metal servers all over the world. There's people.
It's different.
Runs on Raspberry Pi.
It's different proof of stake. If anything happens, you can take your keys and you can make a lateral and you can be up and running within fucking, depending on how sophisticated you are, minutes to hours.
Right. Yeah. Censorship resistance and redundancies. That's a perfect censorship resistance.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's not discrediting decentralization, but if you want to go and circle jerk to your most decentralized thing, while the chain loses and dies. That's the strategy. I don't disagree. I don't agree with that strategy. That's kind of really the difference between, I think, our opinions here.
Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere, and I think ultimately we're going to see a lot more of it. Some of it's going to be resistant, but considering what we're seeing on the business side, where they're starting to make it a lot easier for companies to come in, they're going to know what the rules are when they go to work for the bank. The choke point 2.0 is gone. SAB 122 has just been announced. SAB 121 is gone now. We're going to see a lot more friendly faces instead of unfriendly faces or passive aggressive particular regulators that are not giving us the time of day or telling us we're on pause right now, which I got when that whole choke point 2.0 happened when we were first starting the stablecoin company. So there's a variety of things that are going to change now. We're going to see a lot more opportunity that's going to come along and a lot less red tape and a lot more support from our banking partners being able to work with and use or leverage or custody crypto assets. So expect a lot more of that coming. It's going to be absolutely amazing. That there alone is going to increase your bag if you just want to talk about that alone. So hey guys, I got to go.
Yeah,
It's been awesome, man. Been really cool, and love being a part of this. And here's to the age of Voltaire. I'm fucking stoked for it, and I can't wait for the next few years of building here and just exactly what we're going to be doing and how much we're going to impact the world with what we're doing here. So it's going to be absolutely amazing. So, Chris, thank you. Kyle, everybody, thank you. And everybody,
thank you,
thanks
James.
for letting me come in, man.
Thank you. I'm going to head off too. Nice to speak to you guys. Cheers.
Yeah, we're in a good spot, guys. We can go ahead and shut it down.
It was good forking with all of you.
Yeah, tomorrow there's a question: is there a lip of D-reps anywhere else?
1694.io and tempo.vote.
Gov.tools, I think, has the directory too, right?
Yes.
Gov.tools, I think it is. Wing USDC. I don't know, man.
All right. Happy Fork Day.
Yeah, shutting it down. Oh, you shut it down?